Welcome to another episode of the Saturday Sanctuary. I'm your host, K.Wil.
It's your boy GP. And it's your boy EV.
Hey, man, I really, truly appreciate you coming with that positive energy, bro, and still wearing your school with pride after what just happened last week. I really do appreciate that. And unfortunately, guys, as you can see, we are missing Los. Money Man Los, although he did kill it with his prediction of the Oregon-Ohio State game, Florida still took a mean L, so he's running from that right now. Of course, Sam Bob, if you see a young person resembling Kevin Hart in gold boots, call us. That's him. Call us, then call us. Call us first.
We haven't seen Sam from Ohio.
Yeah, he's been gone since week 2. He's been missing since week 2. And of course, shout out my boy BT. He flipping birds right now, making chicken. But we're going to get going. Again, welcome to another episode of the Saturday Sanctuary. I'm your host, K.Wil, and we're just here to provide some cold takes sometimes by some people, 52-17. But we really try to provide cold truths and some hot takes. But we are here to go ahead and review what happened this past week. It was a great week. And, of course, we're going to get right into it, starting off with Slick Watt and the Ohio State Buckeyes taking a mean loss. Not so bad of a from the score, but I think you guys are still mourning that loss. But at the end of the day, you still fight to see another day.
Well, no, look, time out. Nobody's mourning anything lost, right? We're furious. Everybody is upset. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody hotter than Denzel Burke. He got hibachi all day. And I love you, Denzel, but like over 180 yards and 2 touchdowns given up is just, he should have not have been even allowed to give up that many yards. He should have been pulled, and they should have put our dog Jermaine Matthews Jr. in the game. Ohio State has this thing where they don't trust young players in big games, no matter how productive they've been. Because Arvell Reese, one of our best linebackers, played 4 snaps. Regardless of that, we have scheme issues in the fourth quarter, obviously, because Jim Knowles hasn't got a punt in the fourth quarter of the biggest games of his career, right? We don't pay you. I don't pay you anything. Ohio State does not pay you to hold Michigan State to 7 points. We don't pay you to shut out Western Michigan. We pay you to make Oregon look silly. And what they do made us look silly and got everybody hot on Denzel Burke online. In reality, your scheme is stupid because we're blitzing 2 linebackers and we're dropping 9. But either way, we're furious. We're very upset. Shout out to the Ducks. That's the loudest 60,000 fan stadium I've ever heard of. And whatever. But on a positive note, you know what I'm saying? Our quarterback looked decent. Looked better than decent. I'm sorry, Will. We're upset, right? He looked really good. Jeremiah Smith is a grown man, and they want to call offensive pass interference because somebody initiated contact with him, and because he got up on his toes and he was scared, and so then he had to get him off him because the play before said scared individual was holding his whole jersey and nobody called anything.
All right, so let's discuss that pass interference real quick. You know, we've talked. Obviously, we're all friends, guys. For those that are watching and listening, we are real friends in real life. So we were talking. One thing y'all said that personally, when it doesn't benefit me, I struggle to say it, but it's the truth. There's no such thing as you don't call that right there. If you're going to call it, technically call it. Like, they're not taught that. So it's like, if it's a pass interference in the first quarter, it's a pass interference in the fourth quarter. At the end of the day, he got caught, and it looked bad because he did for real push him. He stumbled.
He pushed him.
Bro,
and I feel like
he's a grown man at 18
no,
years old. And buddy,
it is when you put Evan. So pass interference. I feel like I'm not a football referee, but GP, we can discuss this with your dad. I feel like some part of pass interference, if you're looking at it from the offensive aspect, is definitely, did he gain an advantage by what just happened? He definitely gained an advantage by doing that. And he put hands on the man.
You can kind of get away with a push off if it's slight, but he kind of like full arm out.
He literally impeded any progress he had and made that man stumble. They were gonna call that, bro.
And I feel like also it would have been less eyes on him if the ball didn't come to him as well.
Yeah,
If the
it's
ball,
only
like he was on the
because
other side, I ain't gonna say it wouldn't be called necessarily, but it would probably have less of an impact on the play. Where they
yeah.
probably would have like let it slide maybe. But
I mean,
because
you did literally right in front of the ref, no other route impeding his vision.
Oh,
Like that's an automatic PI,
what
bro.
am I
And
supposed to do? Just let you engage?
no. I agree that you have a right to fight for the ball. The problem is
there was
again,
no ball to be fought for right there.
yeah, it's just and Evan, I get it. Like he's a freak, bro. Like he's a genetic freak. However, like I said, the problem is like by definition that is definitely OPI.
Like absolutely.
That's just what it was. Now
Okay, regardless, moving past that. And we
no,
could
I'm
have called
saying
a timeout. And we didn't
no.
call a timeout. So I'm looking at Coach Day, like, why did you not call a timeout? Because from my couch, I said, all right, cool. Well, to stop this clock from running, we need to call a timeout right here. And I don't even know how many seconds we let run off the clock. You know what I'm saying? In the moment, definitely wanted to blame Will, like I blamed Nico the week before, you know what I'm saying, for what he did. But I'm like, I can't even be mad at you, bro. Like, you had like 80% completion percentage, didn't throw for any picks. You was moving up, and you got us down there. You was throwing dots to get us down there, you know what I'm saying, a minute,
Because
20,
y'all only
whatever
needed a
was on the
field
clock.
goal.
And
Yeah,
that's
y'all
what I'm
only needed
saying.
a
He just
field
needed
goal.
to slide 2 yards, like 2 seconds prior to. We would have got it off.
I mean, also a lot of that is like I kind of feel bad because like all right, so this isn't college, but we just saw that with the NFL, right? Like when a couple weeks ago the Falcons played Tampa Bay and they were able to get that off the spike off of like 1 second.
Oh, yeah,
Drake
that
could
Thursday
have
night game.
Drake
Yeah.
could have gone down a lot earlier, but he wanted to get a little extra yardage to make it easier for Koo to kick it.
But
I'm assuming that's what Will was doing, but it's also like, adrenaline, momentum. You're probably not thinking, hey, let me get down faster so we can figure something out. Like, quicker.
No, you're thinking that because you still slid. I don't want to hear that. Regardless, we didn't get any pressure on the quarterbacks. So that's a scheme thing. I don't
I mean that
understand
Oregon.
what we were doing from a scheme perspective, bro. The whole game.
Hey, bro, you got to give credit where credit was due, bro. Oregon O line was blocking well, even when y'all sent
We
the
were just
blitz.
blitzing forward. We didn't even blitz anybody. We just sent forward.
Yes, y'all did. Y'all did at a pivotal moment in the game. I want to say,
home, bro.
huh?
When we sent pressure, we got home.
No, y'all didn't. They didn't give up any sacks. There's no such thing as getting home if you didn't get no sacks.
Oh, we definitely got sacked.
No, y'all did not.
Maybe we got attacked at the line of scrimmage, whatever. But it was a very easy play that we definitely did get home. Other than that,
0 sacks in that game, bro.
For the whole game. Like, if everybody's on Jack and JT, like, bro, get home. Like, what are you like? Or then play who you're supposed to play. Put Kenyatta Jackson in the game. Put Caden Curry in the game. Put, you know what I'm saying, Caden McDonald in the game behind Tyreek and Ty Hamilton. Like put the players in the game.
Anybody! He's gonna name the whole roster.
No, I'm just saying, bro. Just put other players in the game.
Hey, bro, y'all
I don't care their age, bro. If they're here to make plays, let them make plays.
I mean,
not
I think we do have
the
to
entire
try.
game.
Nigga, you have to press.
I played the entire season, and our biggest game of the year, you don't get on the field,
bro.
And you're seeing your position is getting hibachi.
No, he probably can't do no better. If he could do better, he would have been playing.
All right, bro.
I think that's that's just like there's no such thing as don't call it at that moment. I don't want to hear that about Dalen Everett, but for some reason he's starting. I have to assume the people behind him aren't doing what needs to be done in practice. I think Dalen Everett, I don't like trashing players. He sucks. He is not giving us what we need on Saturday, but he's doing something on Bloody Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that's getting him his spot, and he's starting, bro. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever he's doing in practice, he needs to be doing that shit on Saturdays too, because I'm tired of it. But
he's not as bad as people want to make him out to be.
No, he's bad, bro. He's pretty bad.
That's me reaching, and that's a tough.
He's pretty bad. It's consistently, bro. Like no matter the quarterback, no matter the talent we're going against, you're doing the same thing.
I'm gonna bring it back to Ohio State though. The only thing I really didn't care for in y'all's game plan was y'all left him on an island more than anything. That's I think what
we were in man. Like we're in man.
Hey,
not sending nobody, right?
Hey, and I get it because it's Denzel Burke. You're supposed to leave.
But he ain't look like that in 4 years, bro.
I mean, he hasn't. The last time personally, I saw him being like really good was like when he was a freshman, real talk, or like a sophomore. But right now, no. But
no, he had a sophomore slump. That was atrocious.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So it was a freshman then. But yes, the last time I saw him be really good was when he was a freshman. And ideally, your thought process is, hey, I can leave this. What is he, a senior or junior now?
Senior.
Oh yeah, the thought process is I can leave this senior cornerback on an island against an Evan Stewart or a Tez Johnson. Granted, is that the smartest idea? Probably not. However, I just didn't care for that. And after, I'm not trying to be funny, after maybe like the first one, all right, good play. Because I think the first one was what, a Tez Johnson joint in the left corner, I think.
Oh, you talking about when Evan Stewart dragged him for 9 yards?
No. I recall 2 of them. But literally every touchdown that I saw that was a throw from Dylan Gabriel. I saw the big long one to Evan where he's running like 70 yards, I swear. Because I saw that, I was like, oh my god, and I saw I saw Denzel Burke turn and run. I was like, oh, he's burnt. I was like, he just it was bad. But the other one, I was just like, the one that Tez in the left corner, I was just like, all right, that's just a good throw. Like, it was just a good throw, good catch, got his feet down. But after like, it's weird. Once it happens twice, you're like, hey, we need to figure something else out. Like, and I'm not saying that you gotta take him out the game necessarily, but maybe shade Lathan Ransom over. Maybe I'm just saying, maybe shade a safety over. Maybe double Evan Stewart. Something. Do something. Because
I mean, we see Ransom on his ass before.
Yes, we have. But again, story. That's a totally different conversation. But and then I would say offensively, my only frustration probably with Ohio State, I don't think y'all ran the ball enough.
Yeah, I think
when you could have. And I don't want to take anything away from Will Howard because I've come a long way of, I guess, quote unquote, appreciating what Will Howard has done for Ohio State. I really thought at first it was just like slants and it was screenplays. No, he was really throwing the ball down the field and he was really making it happen. He put up 300 plus yards on a really solid, defense. And I think what's crazy to me, I actually was not impressed with Oregon like the entire year until Saturday. That was the first time I've been impressed because of the caliber of opponent, of who they were playing, the environment of the game. I was just like, I ain't gonna say Oregon had been going through the motions. The only person I had really been impressed with was Dylan Gabriel, I think. Like, as a team, especially with their defense and the run defense too, hadn't really been the greatest. I was like, they ain't finna do nothing. And, Trey Henderson went off, but they kind of shut Q down a little bit.
Yeah, they talking about Q had a hand injury. I'm like, bro, he's fine. He out there. I think that was probably the biggest game Q's played in college. He just looked like he was pressing. He looked to me like he was thinking too much on a few plays, and I don't know if he recovered from that fumble, to be honest.
I mean, bro, to be honest with y'all, I hear y'all, but I think they didn't keep running the ball because the run was being stopped, bro. Like, it was not working. They got Quinshawn had 11 carries for 23 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's not working for him.
Travion Henderson,
he clearly had
2 big runs.
He did.
2. He had 2 big runs, dog. I think he ran the ball 10 times. Those 2 runs accounted for everything. 8 of those runs accounted for 10 yards. It's not working, bro. He had a run for 50. He had a run for 52. He had a run for 17.
Yeah,
and you carried the ball 8 other times. What happened on those? Nothing. Like, it wasn't working for real. Like, they had those 2. I mean, the 17-yard run, that's a big run. That's an explosive play. 57, big run. But outside of that, it wasn't working. And those were early. They shut that shit down, bro. They shut the run down. I think y'all changed the game plan as y'all should have. Will Howard is better than we talked about. Or I'll say he's better than we talked about with this game plan. I didn't expect them to be able to even scheme him these looks that he's getting, which are very favorable looks.
He was throwing but he was throwing the pigskin for real.
No, he was thinking. He was thinking.
And to the thing is, I remember saying last week that I didn't think they had an answer for Jeremiah Smith, which I think he still ended up with 9 for 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Very Jeremiah Smith.
And Emeka he was the one that had 10. He had 10.
Yeah. Emeka went off. He did his thing. I guess I'm like what Evan Stewart did maybe felt more impactful, and maybe it wasn't necessarily.
It was timely. I mean, it was 7 for 150.
It just felt like kill shots because it
was 7 for 150, and it was timely. It was timely. Yeah. It was the first downs they needed. It was the touchdown. That was a big touchdown. I mean, it was very timely. When they needed him, when they said they need somebody to step up, he's stepping up, and he's keeping the drive moving. So, I mean, it was definitely, I won't say it was more impactful, but I mean, he was more of an impact player for the game in general. I mean, without him making those plays like he did. Granted, some of those plays he was just open. Some of those plays he was making some great catches, but he was getting himself open. It was easy throws for Dylan. Dylan was making good decisions. I mean, even when Dylan got that running touchdown and took off, he still had to make some folks miss, and he was skating on them. And I mean,
he's a little shifty.
For sure. He's much shiftier than I want to say much shiftier than we thought, but people, I would say the media try to downplay his athleticism.
There's a run he had last year against Texas in the Red River shootout where he doesn't score, but he runs maybe about a good 50 yards, and I was like, oh, he got some wheels.
Yeah, he got some wheels on him.
He just looks like pudgy. I don't know, maybe
Tua-esque.
Yeah, he looks like Tua, but it's like even Tua's mobile.
What are you talking about?
Dylan Gabriel, that Hawaiian boy.
That 27-yard touchdown run, bro. That's y'all bro.
Yeah,
it was a great run, bro. Was it not?
Wait, never mind.
What, bro? Speak your mind, bro.
He wants to move on.
He should not be shifting them in the open field like that. He should be getting cracked.
Hey, bro.
I mean, I feel you.
I feel you, but I mean,
he's always been shifty for sure.
It's harder than we think it is to stop that. I mean, Dylan was rolling, bro. He's rolling. He was dogging y'all, but at the same time, Will Howard was doing his thing too.
I do have one big comment though, and it actually has nothing to do with the players. It's looking at the coaches on opposite ends of the spectrum. I think this is Dan Lanning's biggest win that he's ever had. Obviously, considering the moment and the opponent, but last year, and even going back his first year coaching, I think they went 9-3 or 10.
I mean, he got his butt whooped the first game.
Yeah, his first game, he plays Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They lose 49-3, but he ends up having a solid year and whatnot. Comes back last year, has two big opportunities to beat Washington, and he kind of situationally, I would say, was a little bit crazy. He's going for it on fourth down when he probably doesn't necessarily need to. It's like he couldn't close. Even this game against Ohio State, I don't know if y'all peeped. Did y'all see the onside kick?
It wasn't an onside kick, bro. The kicker mishit the freaking ball.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say.
It was nuts. But I ain't gonna lie. The way, maybe watching it live, I was like, oh, he's crazy. Because I was like, there's no way. I think Oregon had just scored.
Slip kick it though, for real though. But I don't think the intent was to.
I mean, yeah, it was a bad kick.
It probably wasn't, but it was like, damn. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, he just stole another possession because they get the ball after halftime as well. And if I recall correctly, they scored on that drive, but I can't remember. They didn't
after halftime. No.
No. Well, not after halftime, but I'm saying on that particular drive.
At the end of the no.
They didn't score on the kick. Kick.
But it took time away from an offense that had just was clicking.
Because
I wasn't I'm like, all right, cool. Oregon scored, fine. Let's go score. I was not thinking that like our offense was not gonna move. Like you said, like we weren't running the ball like we needed to, but Will was making the right throws to the right people on time, on target. He was getting Mecca, getting JJ involved. You know what I'm saying? I wanted Cardano to be a little more involved than he was, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely much better than we give him credit for. Definitely much better than we give him credit for.
I just think that slide is definitely like, Will was the last play of the game. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
it's not on that play though.
I don't think he ever planned on running the ball, and I think that's what
he did it.
threw
There's
him
no
off.
way he did, but all that was literally like 6, 5, 4. I ain't got nowhere. I got to take off. I got to get us some yardage. We got to get closer for this field goal.
I mean,
the ideal thought process in situations like that, though, you always want to avoid middle of the field, especially if you don't have any timeouts. But if you do, you will take them. You just need quick strikes, and you need to tell whoever's touching the ball to get down. The ideal thought process, though, is that you're looking toward the sideline for a quick out. For real.
I mean, and you also got to throw.
We have a timeout. Catch the ball and get down. Call timeout.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, y'all should have called timeout. But before we, because we do need to talk about these coaches, I do want to be very, very matter of fact here. Yeah, it could have been worse. It should have been worse. Oregon, I'm not saying y'all didn't make any mistakes. Y'all made an early fumble. Yeah. But I feel like the drives that y'all punted on, y'all should have punted on. I mean, y'all was on y'all own territory. Same with Oregon. When they was punting, y'all had the same amount of punts. They won the turnover battle technically because y'all fumbled that ball, but they didn't even score on that. So, I mean, no, they did score on that. But then you fast forward later on, they're going for it on fourth downs. Missed the field goal on another drive. I think actually what happened, I think they missed the field goal after they got that fumble.
Missed the field goal.
No, they missed the touchdown. And then the next drive, they missed the field goal. And then they go downs right out of that, not right out of the half, but that second drive out of the half. So it's like, it could have really been worse for y'all. I feel like Oregon played a great game. I mean,
Oregon was tweaking, going for 2-point conversions. I didn't mean to cut you off, but they were tweaking, going for 2-point conversions.
Oh, out the gate? I mean,
bro, that's what I'm talking. And I'm not trying to be funny. To go back to the Dan Lanning, that to me was Dan Lanning of like last year and his first year. He's doing stuff in big games, and I get it to try to create maybe like an advantage, but it's like you got to believe almost in yourself and in your team. I think that y'all are comfortable and good enough to be here. You don't got to do all the extra stuff.
I think it's just that's what they wanted. I think that's just how they roll. I think that just may be what they own now. I mean, that's technically, I don't think he cares about Oregon tradition. I won't say I don't think he cares, but I mean, that was an Oregon thing back in the day with Chip Kelly. I mean, if we be honest, that was something he was always doing for no absolute reason at all other than we scored. But I can't be mad at you for that. Yeah. And especially, I can't be mad at you if y'all won. If they lost by 2 or lost by 1, absolutely. But I mean, y'all made up for it, and it's cool. But they didn't do it again.
I think that's why I'm frustrated because it's like, yes, let's say they just kick the extra points. They're then up by 3 with Ohio State driving, and let's say Ohio State kicked it. Instead of potentially losing the game, they would have gone to overtime, and you have another chance to stay in this game.
But I think the reason he did that is because first touchdown of the game. It's the first quarter. Technically, I think it would be a waste of time to be mad at a first quarter decision. Because you can't be like, oh, you can't point to the missed, you not converting the 2-point conversion as the reason you lost. In the first quarter, you had the second, the third, and the fourth quarter to figure it out. So you can't really just be like, oh, that happened in the first quarter. That's why Dan Lanning lost. That decision. He had plenty of other decisions later on that could have won the game, and it did. He had other decisions that made up for it. You're going to make multiple mistakes. You can't have a perfect game. You can punt it when some people feel like you should go for it on downs. Shouldn't have went for it on downs in the end zone right there. I also didn't understand some of them plays they was running at that time. I mean, I played football, but I was also a punter, but it was different. I just feel like if you at the 1-yard line and you don't try a QB sneak and get a push one time, I don't understand that. Because at minimum, you'll get stood up. I rarely have seen people get pushed back on a QB sneak. That don't happen.
I'm gonna always forever hate any you inside the 2 or 3 yard line and you calling shotgun plays. Like
I don't get it, bro.
line it
I was
up.
so happy they was in
Give
shotgun.
me
So I bet we good.
line it up. I'd
Get
actually go back
Imano. Let's see what's up.
give me old school I formation.
Yeah, let me see what's up. Like I don't like any of that. I was trying to be too cute in the red zone. They was trying to be way too cute in the red zone. So I just didn't like that possession where they went downs right there because I just feel like there is no reason for you to get cute. But it's cool, whatever. But from here, what does Blackbeard do, man? What happens? Let's just say y'all don't win the national championship. We're not gonna say. Let's just say y'all don't win the national championship. Like that's not even fathomable. Y'all just lost 2 days ago. Like, what are we talking about? But anyways, let's just say y'all don't win the national championship. What do y'all do with Blackbeard?
So as long as he beats Michigan and wins the Big Ten championship, he's fine.
What if y'all make it to the Big Ten championship? Y'all just lost.
As long as he beats Michigan, he's fine.
Yeah.
Is that your standard, or do you feel like that's what Ohio State's going to do?
You know that's not.
No, that's the standard. That's. I mean, I want a natty. I don't care about nothing else but a natty. Like I don't care.
No, I'm saying
in Atlanta in January, so I can talk my. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I'm saying what are you doing? If y'all don't,
I'm Ohio State, and we lose to Michigan.
No, if y'all don't win the national championship, Evan.
You don't win the national championship this year.
He's going to be fine, bro. We just have to, you know what I'm saying, do some soul searching and come back better.
Again?
Realistically. Now, what is the state of Ohio saying? What are Ohio State fans? They want him up out of there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are really, really sick of him right now. Because again, it goes back to we're not here to beat Western Michigan 56-0. We're here to destroy elite teams because we're elite instead of getting beat in very close moments by little things.
Do you think that Georgia game made y'all not kick that field goal?
No, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it was really annoying that they were putting that they were at the similar yardage.
Yeah. You can't help but think because you didn't have to keep throwing the ball. Y'all could have ran the ball for 1 yard, 2 yards. We don't lose yards,
bro. That's what we wanted. And the thing is, up until the obvious extension of the arm, offensive pass interference, we was moving. Outside of the first play when Will fell on his butt, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Outside of that final drive, bro, we were clicking. So I just think they were just in the playbook. I'm like, let's go get 6. I think we're trying to get as close as possible for this field goal. But I don't think it had anything to do with that because you know what I'm saying. Bro had made a 40-something yarder earlier in the game, so we would have been straight.
I mean,
they were just trying to make it 30, 39 yards and in. I think that's what they really want. I think they wanted a comfortable field goal.
Okay. I respect
that has something to do with it, but I really don't think that. I don't really think that has anything to do with it.
I respect it. Well,
we should have just ran the ball and called a timeout for real.
I'll say on Ryan Day, obviously I'm not an Ohio State fan. I don't think you can fire him. But let me say this. I would not fire him. But was he 1-5 or 1-7 against top 5 teams?
You know the answer to that. He's 1-7.
No. I'm just clarifying.
Dang, can he ask a question, bro?
Bro,
I was just trying to clarify.
GP know the stats.
UJ brother knew he wouldn't have asked you.
I genuinely trying to clarify that one. No, he's only saying that because I definitely said it earlier, but I'm
saying
5 and 7 look alike sometimes, bro.
No. So
put your glasses on.
He's 1-7 against top 5 teams. That is alarming. And like I think I said earlier, the one win comes against a team. I mean, you beat Clemson, but you beat them in a COVID year when you actually probably were not supposed to be in the playoff because y'all didn't even play enough games to get in there.
Brother.
That's semantics. I'm not trying to
also, Dabo ranked us 14, so he has some extra motivation.
That's true, but what's also true is y'all shouldn't have been in the.
I will openly admit that y'all are probably one of the more talented teams to be in there. So it was like I didn't really care that much, but it was COVID. But there were teams that played more games than y'all that probably could have been more deserving a la Texas A&M.
I mean, the teams play more games than us. More deserving, never will say that. We are an elite top 4
Let's
program.
go hand in hand, bro.
I'm not disputing.
You
I'm not
can't
disputing.
name 4 teams better than Ohio State every year.
Again, I'm not disputing that y'all weren't good that year. I am saying a team like Texas A&M, I think, only had like 2 losses. Florida had just played in the SEC championship and almost beat Alabama. Those 2 teams could have potentially been in
championship game that year, huh?
Yeah.
They could have potentially been in.
That was Kyle Trask.
That was a crazy
game. They played significantly more games than you all. That's all. That's the only thing I'm saying. So for y'all to beat Clemson,
you can't blame North versus South logic.
No. I am not saying using that as an
I get what you're getting at, though. I understand.
There were ACC teams that played more games than you all that year.
ACC's in the South.
No, not all ACC teams are in the South.
A lot of come on, there are more ACC teams in the South than the North.
I mean, some people don't determine themselves. Some people don't say they're in the South.
That's really not the point.
The South was open during COVID. The North was not.
Okay, and I get that. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying there were teams that played more teams. Regardless, we're beyond the point. The fact of the matter is he is 1-7 against top 5 teams in those big games. That is alarming a little bit. However, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I think even if Kirby was 1-7 in top 5 games within his what year is this now for Ryan Day? Like 6?
Yeah, I want to say something like that.
Okay. Yeah, please. All right, look that up for me real quick. I don't think so. Yes, that's concerning. But my problem is when people want to fire these coaches and whatnot, you better make sure you're doing an upgrade.
5.
It's been 5 years.
2019.
It's only been 5 years.
Yeah, 2019.
I wholeheartedly would say that y'all would be crazy to fire him right now.
Well, this is his 6th year technically.
Okay. This is his 6th year. Okay. Still, I think y'all would be crazy to fire him. The only teams he has lost to he's lost to Michigan 3 times, he's lost to Oregon twice, he's lost to Georgia, and he's lost to Alabama in a national championship. And I feel like I'm missing something. If I say Michigan 3, Oregon.
You're not missing.
Lost to somebody else. I'm not missing.
Georgia. Yeah, bro. And all right, so
I'm missing nothing. Yeah, but
so 3 of those teams have won national championships. Oregon hasn't. And y'all have been right there. That isn't teams would kill for that.
But this is why people will fire him for that. You got to Kirby because I think everybody's direct comparison and example is Kirby, right?
I don't even think
it's Kirby.
Hold on. Not about Kirby being Kirby and we won 2 national championships. I think it's just that's the most recent successful coach that took over a program, yada, 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 and actually is still there. Because who else around that time between 2017 and 2019 when Ryan Day started, who else has still got their job?
Yeah, he's one.
Nobody. So it's automatically Kirby.
No. Yeah.
It's automatically Kirby. But the difference between Kirby and Blackbeard didn't have to rebuild anything. Kirby legit have to overturn not only the roster, but the actual program itself. The mantra of the program, not the mantra, but the mentor of the program. Just everything about it, how funds are being used. Ryan didn't change nothing besides continue what was already built.
I will say we weren't that down bad. We were winning 10 games, but it just was not enough.
But that's why we were down bad because we were so content. It felt like we were in the jail of average. We were literally like we were the definition for average. Hey man, we gonna get them 10 wins this year, man. What? Like what is this? It's like I don't know the there might be a Bible verse to go with this, but I know for sure people always say it in general. Like it's almost worse to be average and content and leveled off than it is to be down bad for real. Because if you down bad, you down bottom. It's like all right, it can't be no worse. You bound to try any and everything to get yourself up. But if you're not doing so bad, but you're not doing so good, people can just settle there and just be cool with it.
Complacent, yeah.
And that's where, it's the battle of complacency. So it's like we were the definition for complacency at Georgia prior to Kirby Smart. He had to overturn not only the roster but the program itself. Ryan Day didn't have to do any of that. I mean, Urban did everything that needed to be done. All you had to do was just go get a win.
I think my thing is. I think my thing is for Ryan Day. While I understand Ohio State fans' frustrations and everybody's frustrations, I genuinely think at the rate that he is going and the way that Ohio State recruits, because at this point Ohio State recruits itself, it's nationally going to be a top 3 recruiting team. Maybe now Texas is going to enter into that top 5 fold and not not squander talent like they've been doing previously. I think Sark is building a machine, I guess, down there. But Ohio State is basically a top 3 program, point blank period. Again, you got to make sure, one, if you're going to fire him, you got to make sure, one, the coach is committed to recruiting like he is. But like I said, Ohio State kind of recruits itself.
Thanks.
2, you got to make sure that he's a coaching upgrade. I have not really seen too much where somebody could come in and they are going to be an immediate coaching upgrade. 3, I think he's going to win one at some point. He is going to win one. It's just the nature of the beast, bro. Like, yes, he plays in the Big Ten. Now that you have a 12-team playoff, there's more room for error. These dudes just lost to Oregon, and they lost about 1 at Oregon. It wasn't even like it was at home. I guarantee if that game was at home, they'd probably win by more than 1 point.
I get that.
They probably
never know.
We don't know, but they probably win by more than 1 point. They will probably have I'm going to assume that they're going to have the opportunity because they still have a chance to right their wrongs. They got to play Penn State. They got to play Michigan. There's a chance they get into the Big Ten championship game where they might see Oregon again. They get a chance to rectify that. You then get into the playoff where you got to win 3 more times. And they're probably going to be one of the 3 most talented teams in the nation playing in the playoff. They stay healthy. There's a chance that they can win this joint, and everybody's going to stop crying about Ryan Day at that point. I guarantee you. And they'll be like, oh, my God, he's the top 2 coach in college football. He's always been a good
I don't even think that. I think I don't think they'll go that quick, but I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, the hypothetical is if he don't win it. And I get why they want him gone. Like, if he wins it, cool. But even then, I think people just depending on it's just gonna be a trickle down effect. Well, not trickle down effect, it's a domino effect. Like, all right, bro, like he won it. Who they won against? Who did they play? Like,
it's not even that, bro. Like, if he wins it this year, like you're supposed to do that. Everybody came back.
I'll give you that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
to that effect. But it's like also if it's not challenging, what if he don't? What if some weird shit happened? Like we ended up playing TCU. And that's who the fuck he got to play. Not TCU, obviously. But, some shit like that. Niggas going to be like, bro, ain't nobody trying to hear that Ryan Day shit. He ain't play nobody. You won it. Y'all got the championship. You can't take it. But people are going to be like, okay, bro, do it again.
I don't think he would care. I don't think anybody in that program would care. They won a championship.
No, I mean, yes, but I guess I'm more so saying in totality, you won the one. But it's like, all right, bro, we went through all this for one. And then what's gonna happen next year? People still gonna be like, as soon as some weird stuff happen, they gonna be like, oh man, here he go, bro.
I mean, I kind of understand that only because there's still a narrative around that Georgia didn't earn their 2 national championships because the 2 big games they played when they played Bama and they played Ohio State, the starting wide receivers got injured.
Nobody cared. We were injured.
But I'm saying, you see how you say
but that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's still just like, but Kirby Smart is also not on the hot seat for. We have a quote unquote Alabama problem. Ohio State has a can't win whatever game they need to win problem.
Can't win the big game problem. And like I said, the Ryan Day thing I think is a bit overblown, but that's just my personal opinion. I personally believe there are a ton of teams that would probably trade him in. The issue is, I think, because it's Ohio State and because of where they were under Tressel, where they've been under Urban, where they've been now, it's like they feel like they can stick anybody in there and they could get wins. Now, from a recruiting perspective, yes, maybe. But the Big Ten is now deeper. You have to navigate that. I think people gotta, and this isn't even Ryan Day specific. I think people gotta give these college coaches a lot more credit than previously has been done because there's so much that you have to navigate. You got to navigate a different aspect of recruiting. You have to navigate NIL. You have to navigate a transfer portal. I actually think navigating NIL is not really that bad, for real. For real, playing because
They don't do that.
yeah, I'm saying because I'm a believer in paying players, and also like that's more of a collective thing than anything.
Yeah, he ain't dealing with that like that.
And I would say, and now the NCAA just made it where you're gonna have to be transparent because they're getting rid of national letters of intent. You're gonna have to be transparent on day one when these kids sign scholarship agreements. This is how much the NIL collective is paying you or whatever, and so kids are gonna know who lying, who telling the truth, and where the money coming from.
Exactly.
But I think the bigger issue, ironically, is actually the transfer portal more than anything. Not that kids, not that I'm against kids being able to transfer to go to schools wherever they want to. I'm actually a proponent of that. It's just how it's done, and I think the problem is the NCAA went from being, in my personal opinion, one of the more regulated aspects of college football, which made it very ironclad almost. Like I remember when you transferred, you had to sit out a year when you were going to a different school. People would lose a year of eligibility transferring to a different school. And at that point, you got, let's say you a freshman, you transferring, you only now got 2 years on tape to try to get into the league. That is
you gotta really want to do it.
That is hard. Now we got kids that are saving red shirts and got 4 years of eligibility left because they're like, all right, I only played in 4 games and I'm withholding myself or whatever. I'm not doing this. I just think that we have to give some of these coaches a little bit more grace in terms of navigating that, and especially the coaches that have been able to transition from the old way of doing things into now navigating the new way of doing things. So like, salute to Kirby Smart, salute to Ryan Day. I'm not a big fan of Dabo, but salute to Dabo for doing his thing. He's trying to figure it out. I think he needs to.
Man, that boy ain't getting no sleep, bro.
Dabo's not trying to figure out
The transfer portal.
That's the big miss for him is not figuring out the transfer portal. Even if he were to swing like a few guys in there, because I'm pretty certain people would want to play for Clemson, he would be that much better, I think. And Clemson's actually really good this year, even though the ACC is kind of weak and they're not really playing anybody. But that's besides the point. Them as a whole are fine. So, but it's different for these coaches that have been able, in my opinion, to transition from the old way of doing things to now the new way of doing things and still being successful at it.
No, that's
adapt. That's just when I think in sports in general in 2024.
Yeah, adapt or die.
Yeah, it's a new generation of people that you're coaching and have grown up a different way and have been coached a different way throughout their life. So if you can't really adapt to that, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta keep it pushing. But I think the last thing I'll say on Ryan Day is he's not Jim Tressel, right? Shout out to Jim. Got my Jim Tressel flag on today. He's not. I ain't gonna hold you. If Urban Meyer did not get caught in that bar in Ohio after that loss to the Bengals on Monday night, and he told the team to fly back by himself,
you think he'd be back?
Oh boy, they would have been calling for that boy last year.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Ryan is as cutthroat as Urban Meyer.
And that's the thing. Like Jim Tressel, disciplinarian. You were not. Look, when that boy put that gray sweater vest on, don't talk to that man, Jim Tressel. He locked in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw a video earlier today where someone was like, we need a coach from Ohio. Like, you just don't get it. Like,
yeah, I saw that video. I know exactly.
And I'm like, I understand what our fan base is saying by that. But to your point, Grant, like, who are we going to get that's really better at the X's and O's and running the operation right now? Like,
I mean,
I think one option. I think there's only one option. He doesn't even coach in college anymore.
You talking about Vrabel?
I swear to God, that's the only person that can do it.
Vrabel, but I don't think Vrabel wants to coach college football.
I don't think so either. Like, he's done it before. Like, he did it.
Yeah,
he coached backers.
NFL head coach.
Yeah,
he's taking a year doing his thing. He's about to get a
like,
job. You know what I'm saying? That's a
lot.
The Browns are terrible, but
yeah, but I mean,
somebody will hire him to do something else because he's
that's
just a lot. Like an analyst, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's just a lot to deal with. Again, you're in a new age of college football. This is not the same college football he left when he went to the NFL. It is not the same thing.
I mean, just to wrap it up, though, just because there's nobody out there don't mean they don't want to get rid of them. And I think Ryan Day, I'm going to always feel this way about college football coaches. I'll take a college football coach that is not necessarily a specialist offensively or in general. If you can lead the team and you're a leader of men, aka Kirby Smart, he's defensive specialist. I mean, that helps, but people don't value that as much as they value a Ryan Day or a Lincoln Riley because of people want to see the points go up. But point is, y'all gonna end up needing or eventually probably going with somebody that's just that hardcore head coach. It's straight up head coach. You don't think offensive specialist first. You think head coach first. That's probably what y'all need because you can always hire an OC. You can hire a DC. You can hire all these analysts that you're going to hire anyways. Make them earn their money. Y'all go get us the points. I'm going to keep everybody in line. Y'all go get us the points. I'm going to recruit. Y'all go get us the points. I'm going to make sure when a hard decision needs to be made on the field, I'm going to tell you, OC, stop doing that. We're running this.
I think
y'all need that. Ryan Day's not that.
I just think you can do that from an offensive perspective because Urban Meyer was that kind of. Again, Urban Meyer was crazy, and he for sure as shit is not fit for the current style of college football right now.
Yeah.
But offensively minded, that spread offense stuff that he would run at Utah and at Florida and Ohio State, like it worked. It worked at 3 different places. He won championships at 2 of them.
But I think that was a simple side of football back then too. Like now they are, I mean, I'm not saying that all these offensive minds aren't needed. They're definitely needed. The game is more complex because people are more athletic. So you can't just do whatever, keep it simple, keep it plain Jane. I don't think Florida's dang offense was not that goddamn complex. But a lot of times they were more athletic 9 times out of 10 than everybody. So it didn't matter what they ran. Same with Ohio State. Like, but I mean, it wasn't that complex, but Zeke was a fool.
Again, that's relentless recruiting. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and that's why that matters more than, Ryan Day is smart offensively. He's not a good head coach, bro. He's not. He's not a good head coach. I'm sorry. If I have to say, is he or is he not? He's not.
You can do a lot worse than Ryan Day.
But that doesn't mean you're good. That doesn't mean you're good just because I can do a lot worse. That's just like saying with a girl. Just because I can do a lot worse don't mean you aren't a bad girlfriend. What does everybody else have to do with you? Ryan Day is not good. That doesn't mean that you can't do worse. That doesn't mean that there are other teams that will take him. He's not good as a head coach.
Here's my thing. There are only 3 people that he has been compared to, in my personal opinion, have been Nick Saban, who's the GOAT, Kirby Smart, who's probably the best current college football coach, and Dabo Swinney, who also has 2 national championships. That is it. Now, yes,
because Ohio State, not him.
No. Hold on. Now, did Dan Lanning beat him? Yes. Did Mario Cristobal beat him at Oregon 3 years ago? Yes. Are they better coaches than him? I don't know. I really don't. And yes, to your point, Ohio State is a machine. It might be more machine than man at this point. But there's not much better you can do than him.
Hey, brother, let me revert you back to that previous point. Just because there's not much better and there can be worse does not mean you are good. It does.
We might need to move on because it's going to take off.
We're about to move on, but we're moving on right now. My biggest thing, and we're moving on with this point, and I'm dropping the mic. You let Harbaugh build a team before you got your team with all that talent to where they needed to be, bro. You're just not that good as a head coach. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He's not this. From what I think you need right now in this day and age, or what you could use more than, offensive-minded head coach or just whatever you want to call it, genius of football, all that BS. You just need somebody that's going to lead the team and make sure they're going to put their name on the line, their butt on the line. He don't even look like he really, I just don't feel like he really about it like that, bro. That's just me. Like, it just seemed like he would – I personally look at him and I think he would rather call plays than be in the positions he be in as the head coach. I think he really would rather do that. I think if nobody knew, if somebody could make up a scandal about him and he get fired and he just be able to call plays, I think he'd be cool with that. I don't think he wants his name on the line. I don't think he likes that pressure, bro. I don't think he likes it. He don't like the moment.
We got to move on because
we're moving on because I was letting y'all yap and then I started yapping. But anyways, we're moving on to Penn State USC. Of course, a much closer game than it should have been, honestly, in my opinion. But it did make for a good one. I did have to rewatch this one. I did not watch it live. My man Tyler Warren. I'm gonna say one thing.
Boy, tight end.
They might be tight end you. Like, not saying they have the best ones, but they always are pretty consistent with them. And this man went for, like, come on, bro. Who's having 17 receptions?
I will always probably say that they're tight end you.
And I respect that. But
that boy was balling. 17,
224, dog. What?
Stuff, bro. Like, he was.
No, that would make me. Well, I'd have to hit somebody, bro. And I hate to make fun of this, but the way Kirby shoved the quarterback, like. If he made it to my sideline, bro, I'm shut. Like, why are y'all letting this 17? I don't even know how many targets he had. Y'all let him get 17 catches, dog? And he's not a wide receiver, bro. You can put your hands on him off the line. 9 times out of 10, he's in reach. Like,
you saw the touchdown where he was
on the trick play? Like,
I know that trick play one was crazy, bro. He had 220.
Hiked the ball. He hiked the ball. He hiked the ball.
No way, bro. That's like backyard football.
I was just about to say it's backyard football, PE football, G. Like, come on, you let this man hike the ball and then go catch the touchdown, dog? What you out here doing?
And then boss you in the end zone.
Hey, dog. But how are we feeling? How are we feeling now? First about. Honestly, we'll talk winners first. How are we feeling about Penn State? Because at the end of the day, Drew Aller came out second half, did what he needed to do. People were definitely on his head. When I was rewatching the game, it was a little different because I knew it was going to happen. But I'm like, Jesus Christ. How did they make this happen? He looked terrible. I won't even say he looked a shell of himself because he's just not that guy to begin with. But he's definitely good. Like, he's good. But it's like, I'll say he was even unrecognizable from the bad Drews I've seen in the past. Wasn't doing that. And I'm like, bro, what's going on?
In this game than he's had his whole career.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, I don't expect him to be this Will and Dylan playmaker, but he's not the guy that's not going to give the ball away ever. But 9 times out of 10, I'm like, hey, we can trust him. We can trust decision making. I'm like, bro, how did they even win this game?
Yeah, he typically takes care of the football. I don't know. In general, how I feel about Penn State, I feel like what are they? They're like the 4th ranked team in the country.
No,
right
out the AP just today.
They're 3rd in the AP.
They're 3rd.
I don't feel like they're the 3rd best team in the country, and that's.
You just can't put them. Just can't put them.
Like they're undefeated. They've beaten ranked teams. I can't disregard that.
Yeah, you can't put them behind Georgia. You can't put them behind Ohio State.
Do I feel like they're real though? Like, yes, it's weird. Yes and no. Yes, because all it's gonna take is like, who will they play later on? I think they're a playoff team though for sure. It's all about matchups. I think USC is one of those teams where it's like they're not good necessarily, but they're obviously not bad.
Right.
Like, they're not terrible. But they probably should have beat USC by more than 3 points. I think a win's a win. I think if you want to be considered like a national championship contender though, you gotta win that game by more than 3 points.
Yeah, but I think right now everybody's kind of having those games.
Yeah, but I mean, winning on the road is hard. Winning in the Big Ten is hard.
And it's a new opponent for y'all.
Yeah, just new style of ball, honestly. Miller Moss and USC and Lincoln Riley's offense is going to throw the ball a lot. Defense probably had to be on their toes. I'm trying to.
I mean, neither quarterback really played that good in general, though. Even Miller, I don't think he played that great. I think they both could play better.
I will say, like, their run game kind of got shut down, which is shocking because
it wasn't kind of. They got cooked.
It got shut down. Like, that's the bread and butter of their offense, in my opinion. Like, don't get it twisted. Drew was a lot better, but they are a much better team when their run game is on point because it
Definitely.
stabilizes them. It allows them to control the offense, control pace of the game, and they can just play defense. And
Yeah, that's true.
their defense is pretty good.
I
Well,
was.
Evan, how you feeling about their playoff chances now?
I mean, I think they're a playoff lock. I think they are. I mean, for the simple fact that they probably lose to us, God willing, at the end of the year.
That would be a tough game.
But the thing is, like USC, like it was a comeback win, right? So if we look at it from
20-6.
the game, like inside the game, like I'm like, oh, like USC about to win this game. Like if you look at it from that perspective in the first half, you know what I'm saying you don't think that they have a shot. I'm definitely impressed with them for being able to fight back like that. Um, but I'm very shocked that they didn't win this game by double digits. Like I definitely thought they were going to come in there, be physical, be able to run the ball, be able to throw the ball over the lot, and then shut them down with their defense in the second half. Being able, get off the edge. They was getting home.
Yep.
They was getting similar Moss. So like that's
I
what I
mean,
thought was going to happen.
they lead. If they don't lead, they're top 3 in getting to the quarterback, and I want to say they lead
No, I think
as far as how quick it takes
first. I'm pretty sure they're first.
Yeah.
So like what we saw from them in spurts and key moments was really big though, because they stepped up when they needed to. So that's why I feel like Penn State's definitely a playoff lot. Do I think they win a natty? Probably not, depending upon what their draw looks like. But I'm impressed with them from the standpoint of being down 20-6 and finding a way to come back and winning that game. Just disappointed that they didn't come out more locked in because I thought we would see a dominant Penn State team, but USC, had something to play for after getting beat by Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, USC is effectively cooked moving forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're done. I mean, they just need to build up.
They have or 3, 2.
That's 3. They're 3-3. They need to build up for next year.
They would have been okay losing. They would have been okay losing to Michigan and losing to Penn State, but
They could not have lost the LSU game. Granted, they weren't healthy, but nobody cares.
No, I mean they could have been okay losing the LSU game in my opinion because that's out of conference, and now LSU only has. I mean, now LSU has 1 loss, but if LSU effectively would not have had any losses at this point.
Oh yeah. Nah.
So it would have looked better for them moving forward, but LSU will probably end up with another
They
loss.
lost to Michigan, Minnesota, and Penn State.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the Penn State, Michigan losses, everybody would have been like, those 2 teams started off the year as top 10 teams.
That looks funny.
Yeah, Minnesota's an ugly L. Minnesota.
Yeah, that's why I say. I mean,
that's an ugly L.
LSU was a toss up. Minnesota, that's ridiculous. But I think at the end of the day, they're gonna have to move on and look at next year. I was most surprised by Zachariah Branch. Also, yeah, I think he only had.
I wasn't because it's been like that. It's been that this year.
I'm saying in the big game, I feel like I expected them to get him more touches, not catches necessarily, but get him touches. Like
he's just not that.
Figure out how to use him.
He's not that guy. I'm sorry.
You don't think he's that guy?
He's electric as an athlete, but like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to get him more touches. Same way.
Yeah, but
I don't say he's no worse than Arian Smith, and we find a way to get his sorry hands the ball. So that's why I'm looking at it.
Not the same.
Exactly. I didn't want to say that. I'm not taking anybody over a dog, but I mean, Zachariah has better hands than Arian. Their speed, Arian's probably faster, but
I feel like Zach's only effective in the return game at this point.
I think you got to scheme him open. I don't understand how Lincoln Riley isn't figuring that out, but I mean, you get the ball in his hands.
He makes plays.
He's going to make a play. I mean, at minimum, he makes 1 play. Now he's a distraction for the rest of the game. So I didn't understand that. I was more shocked about that. The prior games, I get it. I understand. I think he probably needs to learn to play the wide receiver position better. But this game, I feel like the game is so big. I felt like you had things, or I thought you would have things saved up for him for moments like this to get that ball into an election player's hands. But I guess not. Moving forward from that, I guess we just wish Lincoln Riley some luck. They're definitely not going to fire him. So
absolutely not.
We're just going to have to see what happens from here on out. But Penn State, I mean,
prayers down for Lincoln Riley, in my opinion. That's
Prayers
possible.
down. Come
Prayers
on,
down.
DP. We can
You know,
never not.
I'm not a Lincoln fan.
We can
He's not a league guy, but
pray on somebody.
I mean, you guys do have y'all do still have I'll say a good little race for the Big Ten championship. I mean, Illinois got some opportunity coming up. They 5-1. We'll see. Hey, just throwing it out there. You know what I'm saying? And
I
then
like Illinois as a dark horse, man. I
You're
like
trying to
him.
be so politically correct right now. It is a 3-team race between Ohio State
hey, brother.
and Penn State. That is
Hey, brother. Let me just throw some out there. They play Oregon. After that, they play nobody. Literally nobody.
You talking about Illinois?
Yeah, they played no ranked teams. Their season's next week. Their season's this week, bro. We don't know. We saw Alabama. Cook us.
Where's
Illinois
the
is gonna play. Illinois gonna play them boys tough, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Not the head coach's name, but
I ain't finna.
now
All right.
that is a coach. He be coaching. He be coaching them up.
I'm not gonna sit here in front. Luke Altmaier is nice. I do like him. Am I tripping? Isn't Brett Bielema their head coach? I feel like he is.
That's not Brett's name, is it?
I swear it's Brett. Hold on.
I'm tell you. He's been there. Bro,
He's definitely been there. I think he's their head coach. Yes, it's Brett Bielema. He's solid. I admittedly is solid.
Yeah.
I personally don't see them. They may stick with them for a couple quarters, like 2, but I personally see Oregon, the talent, at some point winning out.
I understand that, but we've seen what's happened with Alabama, bro. It's not the same because I don't think Ohio State showed at any point how to really stop Oregon. I don't think they stopped them. I don't think they stopped them in any way where it's just like, okay, let's take that and translate that into our game plan against Oregon. So I don't. It's different, but at the same time, prior to last week, Oregon was very just like
they were just okay.
They were whatever, and it's like you can go right. We've seen it so many times this year and prior years. Not Oregon, but just other teams. Big win, big game. Next week, you go back to what you was doing.
Facts.
I mean the letdown from the big game, but also you just simply went back to what you were, and that's actually more of what you are than what we saw during the big game. That could happen. I don't think so. I think this is more of a spark for Oregon, and they about to really turn up. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a shot because I mean, Illinois is undefeated in conference play right now. So, I mean that
college football is just different, right?
It is, and that's why it's good. Any given Saturday, baby. Any given Saturday, anybody can take a L. And then it's ugly. Or actually, I did make a mistake. They already have one loss in conference play, so I'm tripping. But if they do beat Oregon, that's kind of crazy. But we'll see. I think the more important thing is Indiana. We'll see what they got going on. I know that's your pick for the Big Ten championship, though.
That is not my pick at
that's
all.
Your sleeper. That's a sleeper.
I told you. I mean, maybe this is me big name hunting or whatever. I just think it's between 3 teams. And,
I get that.
And all 3 of those teams will get into the play.
Moving on, though, to the Big 12. We had Colorado disappoint us. So I'll say they definitely disappointed me going against Kansas State. Granted,
they got hurt.
Big losses on the field. Travis Hunter and Joe Horn Jr. went down. But I really was I'll say I was just excited to see where that went. If they did win, they had a big opportunity to be in the Big 12 championship, I feel like. But now it's kind of over with for that unless they have chaos breakout, which is not far-fetched. But right now it's looking like Kansas State is that guy. I mean, y'all boys over at Utah took a L. So I don't think they'll be in there.
I knew he was going to bring that up, but I was
was
watching that game like.
Them y'all guys, man, I told y'all, trash. Stop putting that boy in the game. He's not trash, but.
Oh, timeout. Speaking, I saw an article that they talking about he got another year to come back.
Absolutely.
He has a medical red shirt.
He has a medical red shirt. They said we haven't talked about it yet, but we'll talk to him about it.
It's just some things where it's just like, bro, no.
This is what I'm talking about the new age of college football as well, too. Like, and admittedly, you have to take it. I don't mind somebody taking advantage of that, but like, he's going to be 26 years old.
That's it.
Talking about that's it. If he's any older,
I'm just saying, like, it would be his 8th year in college football, and he's a seasoned quarterback. And I think the only reason people do that, like, at this point, you've had enough film to if you were an a viable NFL prospect, you would have.
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you would have enough. You would have had enough film and be like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going.
You wouldn't do that.
Whether I'm a first round pick, second round pick, or even third round pick, you would have been like, I'm gone. But due to NIL, now, like, there are opportunities for him to make probably more money playing college football than he might ever make in the NFL if he makes it to the NFL. And one of the things that the NFL is going to say is you are injury prone because you get hurt every year. And I don't even dislike Cam Rising because he's actually really good when he's on the field and effective. Yeah. He is good.
He just wasn't. He couldn't really move. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know why he was out there, bro.
There's no reason for them to play him, and that's just trash. But how are we feeling about the Big 12 as a whole now? Is Kansas State the front runner there?
It's probably still Iowa State right now.
Iowa State, okay.
Undefeated.
I mean,
I think Iowa State's the front runner, but I think Kansas State. Kansas State has a chance. They got some pieces for sure.
And of course, we still have Brigham Young University.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, like, the Big 12 is still wide open.
Still wide open, yeah.
That's why I say it's still big chaos. Technically, one conference loss is not going to kill you. Colorado technically only has one conference loss. It's just the simple fact that now you don't have control of your own destiny. So essentially, you're waiting on somebody else to lose. So we'll have to see with that. And they don't really.
I don't know how that's gonna happen. Like, I realistically, it's kind of cliche, but, like, I don't think we'll know about the Big 12 until
the end of the year,
November, for real. Like, I don't think we'll know until, like, end of November who's really gonna be in the race, because I think it's gonna be neck and neck the whole way.
Honestly, the only thing I probably can say right now is, and I don't even know if I'm super confident in this take, whoever wins the Big 12, I'm not for certain that when they play in the playoffs, whoever they play against, that they're an automatic W against whoever they play.
No, it depends on the matchup. I think they can still play somebody tough. Definitely.
Yeah.
So
they'll play them tough, but
they'll get the bye, right? They'll get a bye.
Yes. Yeah, they automatically get a bye, but it's like they'll play the winner of the 5 and the 12 seed, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Winner of the 5 and the 12 seed. And at this rate, there's a bunch of random it's funny. I know this has nothing to do with the Big 12, but was it weird? There's a bunch of undefeated group of 5 teams right now moving forward that have big games left to play. For example, Army and Navy are both undefeated. They both still have to play Notre Dame. I'm not saying that they will beat Notre Dame, but
it's very possible.
But we also know running a triple option offense is very hard to defend. And there's this random scenario. I've heard it spoken up so many times. The AAC, the conference that they play in, the American Athletic Conference, their championship game has the potential to see both of them play each other. Mm-hmm. They would have to play each other in that game and then potentially play the next week in the Army-Navy game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance, like, one team wins the championship game and the other team wins in the Army-Navy game. And it's like, who would you put into the playoff at that break?
Whoever had the biggest win differential. Or if you want to be, if I'm the playoff committee, I'm going to pick whoever I feel like is going to be the harder, like, who's the harder person to game plan for.
Yeah.
I'm not even being biased. The only team I trust to go up against a triple option right now is not even team. The only coach I trust to go up against is Kirby Smart.
I know you're going to say, because he used to play, and that's the thing, because he used to have to play against Georgia Tech.
We'll be ready. I don't want to be in that position, but
yeah. But I just threw them out there as a thing. I'm not certain that they go undefeated or whatever.
I mean, it's a real.
It's just a possibility. The closest.
It's a real one. It's not even like a far. Like, that's easily the most, like, because we know they're not gonna have an L until, like, we know when they're gonna have an L. These other teams, we don't know what's going to happen over the course of these next few weeks. But everybody else is no telling. With Army Navy, we know their L's are probably going to come from each other at the end of the day. So
yeah, And
We'll see.
that'll be interesting to see, honestly.
It'll be interesting. But also with the Big 12, not fun fact, but just note it, very important to pay attention to. Texas Tech has to play Iowa State. Texas Tech also plays Colorado. Um, Iowa State and is it? I think. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not tripping. Let me go. Let me review. Okay, that's what happens. Texas Tech does play Iowa. Iowa State. Iowa State also plays Kansas State, and Texas Tech also plays BYU. So I mean, it's the perfect recipe for not just Colorado, because there are other teams that are one loss and have that opportunity too, aka Utah, because they only lost to Arizona State. Neither one of those teams are in the race. So as long as you don't lose to one of those other teams that are in the top four, and you don't lose again, and all they do is beat up on each other, you easily find yourself sliding to the top two. Same with Colorado. They just have to play Texas Tech. Y'all can knock them to one loss. Iowa State and Iowa State and Kansas State have to play each other. One of those people are going to have a loss in the conference. BYU has to play Texas Tech. Like, it's still a path, but again, you don't have your own destiny in your hands.
I don't think there'll be an undefeated Big 12 team, honestly. Getting into the championship game period. I just think it's just too chaotic, and the teams are too close in terms of like talent level. I think of where that will be.
I think if it's anybody, it'll probably be BYU. I mean, they don't play anybody else for the rest of the year.
Maybe, but I just don't know. I feel like.
I mean, Arizona State is still looking nice. Dang,
I feel like Iowa State is probably the strongest. Iowa State, maybe, or Kansas State, but I can't remember who Kansas State lost to. And
I actually made
so ugly.
Kansas State. Yeah. I actually made a mistake. Not Baylor. BYU does not play anybody for real. Except they do play Arizona State, who is 5-1. Kansas State, they lost to BYU. They already lost. So.
And when that tiebreaker.
I mean, it's just like that tiebreaker's cooked for them, and they still got to play Iowa State. So it's. I like the Big 12. I like the Big 12 this year. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for it in the future. I think my biggest question moving forward, of course, as a black man, I really only care about Deion for real. I want to know I'm not gonna say he needs to come out and say something, but. Hey, brother, you know what we're here for. You know what we want to know. What you doing next year?
Good luck.
What's his name? What's the commit from Alabama? Last name Russell. I forgot. I don't want to butcher his first name.
He's not going to.
So I saw that, which makes him not. He's committed to USC. Like, he's going to stick that out.
Who, Juju?
Yeah.
I mean, I think genuinely Deion's recruiting methods are.
I'm Deion.
Yeah, and it's like, what he's gonna do, what he does every year. It's weird. It was cute the first time, not even the first time. The first time was just like mind blowing. You got Travis Hunter, the #1 recruit in the country, to come to an HBCU. That's a generational
story.
Level of that's a national story. Also, I think if you knew who Travis Hunter was in high school, you knew that he was going to be great wherever he went to school. So, like, what he's doing, whether he had stuck it out at wide receiver or whether he had stuck it out at corner, I do think that Deion's probably the only coach that would have given him an opportunity to play both sides of the football the way that he's been doing. To be transparent, the next year you get Cormani McClain, the next year you get Jordan Seaton. So it's like he gets one big fish every year. So it genuinely would not shock me if he's to pull a Juju flip or he's to pull like a random quarterback flip. His problem, in my personal opinion, is I don't think he likes recruiting out of high school. And his thought process is, hey, let me go on ahead and get these dudes that have been in the college football weight training programs at these other institutions. They have a bit more physical ability body-wise, and I can just plug and play. The problem is it does not work like that. And you're trying to get dudes on the line of scrimmage in the transfer portal, and 9 times out of 10, those dudes, if they're actually good, they do not
They're not going
leave
anywhere.
their school, bro. Like whether it's on defense or on offense, especially on offense, they do not leave their school if they're good. Like
What's the offense?
coaches do not let that happen. Like they don't give up offensive line depth. Like
Because they get injured. It's just hard to replace offensive linemen. It's such a that's the biggest. I feel like that's the biggest fall off of any position on the field when somebody goes down. Usually,
absolutely.
and then you're blessed. Even you're blessed out of Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. That next man up can start so many other places. But for you, on that day that he has to go in, it's like, bro, no. Like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
Please get healthy quickly. But yeah, no, that isn't.
I think he also
like,
doesn't like flying for real. From what I hear,
yeah,
like he doesn't
yeah,
like.
that.
And I don't know what Colorado, because again, Colorado was 1-10 before he got there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money they have in their budget, or if they have a plane, or how many like flights, air miles he gets, or whatever. But I don't think he, due to his
that is
right. I don't think he likes doing that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think the surgery on his foot factors into this. The only two states, really three, I guess. I'll throw Georgia in there, but I don't think he'll ever coach at a Georgia school. The only two states that I genuinely think, because he has ties to both of these states as well, is a school in Texas or a school in Florida. Now, the reason those two states I think will work for him in terms of like who he is, he, like you just mentioned, he doesn't really like flying to places and he doesn't really like recruiting, but that gives him the aspect to be able to drive. At max, you're driving like, because especially in Florida where you're at with all these schools, you can drive an hour, maybe two at most, and you will find a kid. You will find athletes. Same thing in Texas. You can drive at max an hour or 2 hours. Like if he was, like let's say he was at like University of Houston or something like that. Just in the Houston area, you got a plethora of kids on all sides of the ball. Like and he has that gravity where he can pull guys in. It's just you have to want to recruit. I don't think he wants to yet. And that's, and to your point, Kaylin, of asking like, what's his decision or whatever. It's just like he has to figure that out for himself. Is it working for him? Yes, maybe, but like we're at a point where we got to figure out what is.
Yeah, the rubber is meeting the road.
The rubber's about to hit the road. Like, is there going to be a drop off of this point? Like, is he gonna like? I'm not saying he's gonna stop coaching, but it's just like, was the goal? And I told y'all, this actually Slick was like the biggest finesse to get Shedeur to potentially be the first quarterback drafted, in my opinion. Not saying that it was like that's a bad thing, because it's not. Great nepotism aspect. But if you followed Shedeur recruiting in high school, he didn't have a lot of big committable offers. Like he was gonna go to Florida Atlantic before he took over Jackson State and then became a quarterback. You now got him to be from the FCS level to the FBS level, where he's putting on a show these last 2 years, and people are like, hey, that's an NFL quarterback prospect. I can rock with that. I don't know if he would have gotten drafted had he taken a different path at this point. And
yeah, I think he still would have, because I think the talent's there, the work ethic was there. I think it also, you playing high school football in Texas, and then y'all was playing at this little school. Y'all had too much going on. I think if he more so just, I think personally, we'll never know, but he sends Shedeur to whatever school in Texas just to be a regular kid, and or not a regular kid, but necessarily just go to any other powerhouse program in high school Texas. I think he would have been just fine. I think if he went to FAU, he would have been fine. Like he still would have shined through. But I think I understand it, especially with quarterbacks, you want to control that. But we'll see. We'll see what he does.
I'm just saying it's weird. It's like he has the ability that he's been able to, I don't want to say control the narrative, but essentially like you've been able to dictate it. And it's not like he's pigeonholed. It's just like you gave him the platform because you knew he had the talent. And now that he has a platform, he's absolutely performing either or outperforming expectations maybe of where he was like as a freshman or like coming into college. Kudos to that. Like that is great. I gotta commend that. But from a coaching perspective, it's like what happens after Shedeur? What happens after Travis?
No, for sure.
And I had personally wanted him to stay at Jackson State, not forever, but I wanted him to stay at Jackson State for
showing us that you can build something.
Yeah, well, just his first recruiting class. Like, show me that you can make Travis Hunter, and again, great player. He was already going to be an elite prospect, in my opinion. Show them that, like, you can take this kid, you can develop him at an HBCU, you can play in an HBCU, you can get him drafted in the first round. Show me that Shador, yes, he's playing FCS talent or whatever, but show them that I can turn him into a viable quarterback prospect from an HBCU. Kudos. But now it's like, what you gonna do after that? We don't know.
See.
Yeah, we're really in what's next mode.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. You gotta wait and see. I think if it's not those highlight players that you obviously know they have what you need from day one, I think he struggles to commit to them. And I mean, he always talks about who got that dog, and I think he's more likely to trust a 3-star from Florida, Texas, Georgia, Alabama area if he's down there versus the types of people he's getting up in Colorado, because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
but
I'm not gonna front. There's smaller schools than Colorado, actually, that he would kill at, in my opinion. That, like, all right, if he's at South Florida, I like Golish. I actually think he's gonna elevate.
Oh, you said smaller schools in Colorado. You meant Colorado or Florida?
No, I'm smaller schools than Colorado, like outside of Colorado.
Like if he was at SMU,
I thought you said. I'm sorry. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, Deion's gonna be Deion regardless. I mean, he's gonna elevate everybody, especially when you kind of.
I'm just talking about from like a geographical perspective. If he was at UCF, he'd kill. If he's at South Florida, he'd kill. If he's
in Florida,
Houston, he would kill. If he was at, I mean, now granted, like a school like TCU is never gonna hire him. He'd kill. I think even if and SMU's actually doing pretty well. If he was at SMU.
Yeah, I don't think it matters about how big the school is. I'm just saying the geographical location. I think Colorado was just. I mean, what do y'all have to trust me? Y'all have to do what I say.
And the thing about Colorado is he has or should have Texas ties, right? Colorado, when they used to be really good, they would recruit out of Texas, and they would recruit, ironically, out of Florida, of all places, but mostly out of Texas. And this goes back to, like, it's where this is where it's like, it's more of a frustration, because it's like, and people will be like, "Oh, Grant, you're such a Deion hater," or whatever. And it's just like, I don't care for his ego, because his ego gets in the way of him potentially being a better coach, in my opinion, or like his level is like right here when he could be up here. That, like, Deion the person, like, Prime is up here. Deion the player is up here, obviously, like a Hall of Famer. The coach, and he's actually a really good coach from what we've seen. It's just like, if you add a recruiting, like actually taking that into account, into aspect, I think he'd kill it. And like the excuse is like, oh, he's not in a recruiting hotbed. That's cool, but that excuse only works for so long, I think.
You got to make it happen. I mean, people make it happen all over the country. So
exactly.
We'll see. Moving on to the ACC real quick. Ain't much to talk about there. But, of course, Clemson's the front runner right now with that. Got Miami still going strong. Cam Ward University. SMU is still going at it. And, I mean, Pitt is going good, too. My only thing is, got Syracuse. I'll rock with the black man at head coach. They 5-1. And they got some games coming up to where they can spoil some seasons easily. They have to play Pitt and Miami, and they play at Louisville. But Pitt and Miami, they play at the crib. So, oh no, I'm sorry, they're playing Pitt at the crib. They don't play Miami, actually. I'm sorry, Miami plays Louisville at the crib though this week, and that's looking like a potential upset. I mean, considering how Miami plays. But who are y'all seeing right now, as of today? Who wins the ACC?
Clemson.
I think. Who are they playing in the championship?
Miami. I feel like they've been the most two complete teams in the ACC. I don't think if Miami stumbles, it stumbles against maybe Louisville.
They play at Louisville this weekend.
Yeah. Let's see who Miami's schedule.
Go Dabo!
Yeah. But no, I mean honestly, I have to kind of second Grant because I was thinking the same thing. It would be very poetic and very football like for us to hype up Miami all year just for the same ACC champion to come back and still win it.
And it'll probably happen. The only
Right, like Clemson they're playing a lot better. They're clicking. Um, and Miami, like we said, they've had some slip ups. Like one time, either you're gonna be the cardiac kids all year,
yeah,
or
they're
one time you're just not gonna be able to come back.
I think my only thing with Clemson is they do have to play Louisville still, and they got to play Pitt. And I don't think that South Carolina game is going to be. I don't think that's going to be the whole.
That's
That's
gonna
gonna
be
be
a
they don't have anybody to really. That's
towards
going
the
to be.
ACC
Huh?
standings, though.
You said what?
I mean, it doesn't count towards the ACC standings.
It doesn't.
I think that, but that could potentially.
There's a calendar of that game. Yeah.
You had like, I mean,
No, I feel
now it's just like you really got to win.
But I
But the
think
thing
Pitt,
is,
to
if
your
you
point,
win
I
your
think Pitt's the
championship,
dark horse there, though, for sure.
yeah. The only thing though is Miami plays Louisville this weekend, and then they play Syracuse at the end of the year.
That's going to trip them up
I
potentially.
think they'll beat. I think they'll beat Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest. But I think the Syracuse game is tougher than they probably will expect, and I think this Louisville game is probably their hardest remaining ACC regular season game.
Yeah.
I think. Granted, it's more so that I just don't know what Syracuse will be at the end of the year. I can't actually.
We can't say. I think we'll know when they play Pitt, though. We'll know what are y'all really like. How are we going to stay? Like, what are we really going to show more often than not?
I mean, I was referring that for Miami, but like.
Oh,
yeah. Clemson. I mean, I've seen more of a well-oiled machine from Clemson. I think since that Georgia game, K. Klubnik. Nobody wants to admit this. He could be a Heisman candidate. The way he's playing and the way his stats say. The problem is he looks so horrible week one that nobody cares, and they don't play anybody.
yeah. So nobody's listening. Nobody's hearing that, especially when
Might be on the Heisman list next year.
But you already got a Heisman. You already have a full Heisman list right now. What is it? 4 guys every year.
Yeah. So it's like.
So you got Genty, you got Cam, you got Genty, you got Cam, you got Ewers. That fourth
Are you forgetting Travis Hunter?
Yeah, Travis Hunter's on there too.
Yeah. So he's not in there, bro. He's not in there.
Okay.
So I said next year's list.
He's playing
this campaign
like
is for next year's list.
Yeah, let me say he's playing like a Heisman candidate.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, against nobody though. That's why he's not in it. Because I mean, I think this year quiet as kept probably will be the hardest. We don't know what's gonna happen, but I think this will be the hardest for.
I don't think a QB is gonna win. I think it right now. If it was me, and then we're venturing off into a different thing. Genty, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and I'd actually probably put Dylan Gabriel because his stats are ridiculous.
Yeah,
his stats are ridiculous, and he just won. He
fried us.
He beat the team that you know.
Yeah, he just played his hardest game of the year,
and he won. I mean, and played well.
Yeah, he's been putting up buckets. Like I said, if there's been one consistent player on that team, it's been him.
Yeah, it's been him the whole time. I think we were waiting to see who else was going to show up, and when they showed up, if he fell off, which can happen sometimes, but
yeah,
he did his thing. But we'll see what's going on with that. But Klubnik, he's definitely being better than he was. I'm personally just not a believer in him at all. But we'll see what's going on with the ACC. I think they're similar to the Big 12. We're not going to really know what's going on to the end unless Miami literally just goes off the rails. Or honestly, if Pitt loses to Clemson. But even then, I mean, Clemson loses to Pitt. But even then, Pitt could still lose later on. But we'll see.
I just feel like it's two teams and everybody else can potentially play spoiler for real. But I still think at the end of the day, we're going to when we settle the dust and all that, it's going to be Miami versus Clemson.
I mean, it wouldn't even be spoiler though because Pitt's undefeated.
That's what I'm saying. Pitt
it's not really playing spoiler. You got to go in there. I'm the big dog. SMU, they're undefeated, so it's like it's not even spoiler because I think like spoiler is we have no chance, but I'm gonna ruin yours.
Yeah.
So it's like SMU and Pitt, they have a chance. Shoot, Clemson can beat Pitt. and they still got a chance. So it's like they're not playing spoiler. Hopefully they go into it like, hey, we the big dogs. Like, let's go do this. Let's go get this win. But again, I think it'll be some great games to see. But
it's the only thing I hate about no divisions and all these big ass conferences now because there's too many tiebreakers instead of it being divisions where
I'm super confused on what's about to happen with all these conferences.
At least in divisions, you'd have to play everybody in your division or whatever, and then you'd play the other division.
It's a clear cut. It's a clear cut winner at the top.
Now, granted, one division might be better than the other or whatever, but like at the end of the day, you played the same teams, or it was a determining factor like of who could get in. But now everybody doesn't necessarily have common opponents.
I mean, we're also seeing now that's disproven. I think. Well, the SEC is the easiest place to use that. I think I just would have wished to see what the SEC would have looked like. Just put Texas in one, Oklahoma in the other. I don't care which one you do. Big Ten, especially, like make the what were y'all in? What was y'all North and South or East and West?
East and West.
Put Oregon and USC on that side because I mean the complaint is there's no comp. So put them over there and see what happens.
Yeah,
but
SEC revisits the conferences. What?
After this year,
the following year, right?
No, it's after this year. This is a 1 year thing.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think I'll find something. I'll kind of move from there. Hey, before y'all get to SEC though, I'm gonna drop because I got to go do some work. So I just didn't want the transition to be wild. But yeah.
Oh, you good? I mean, we about to do SEC and then get off.
That's why I'm saying. I just didn't want your transition. You know what I'm saying? It'd be weird. But say what you want to say, fellas. Love.
All right.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Yep.
Peace, at least.
What the hell? Every time about peace in the Middle East is crazy. All right, but moving on to the SEC. Evan couldn't stand to hear about the greatest conference in the world and all land of college football, but it's okay. We're going to get to it. We had a great game with Ole Miss and LSU. Of course, LSU came out with that dub. Ole Miss is looking like they might just continue to be the same old Ole Miss. And I really want to know, is that Lane Kiffin or is it just – what is it? Who is it?
I'm gonna say it's a Lane Kiffin thing. He fumbles in big games.
Yeah,
honestly, there's no disrespect to Lane because I actually like Lane. He's funny.
Yeah, I think we both like Lane. I mean, he's a good he's a good personality. Like I like his personality. He's down to earth.
Yeah,
I never get mad when somebody. I mean, it's rare, but somebody commits Ole Miss over Georgia. It's like I kind of get it. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin, baby.
His offense is good. He's a funny guy. I just think that like it's funny because it's the first time that I would say like he's taking defense seriously. I don't know if Pete Golding is the answer that I would go with in terms of defense necessarily, but fact of the matter is also it's like he just doesn't know how to win these big games.
I think he's another example for what I was telling y'all about Ryan Day. His offensive stuff is cool. Can you leave the team though? Can you leave the team? I mean, it's always, I feel like they are missing those characteristics that we do see in our greatest head coaches. Even head coaches like perfect example, Mac Brown. Yeah. He's not that top all-time coach, but nobody's gonna try Mac Brown's credentials. Like we know he's a solid coach. We know he's been consistent. He's a head coach. Yeah. I don't see that in Lane Kiffin. I don't see that in Ryan Day. They are missing some very important things that are needed.
I'm gonna be honest; those are two different people. And the reason I say this, I just can't take Lane seriously. Like
I can't take Ryan Day serious.
I know, but it's weird.
In the big moments,
I can take Ryan Day seriously to the point where like you don't, but I kind of like feel sorry for him because I'm just like, damn, you're like right there. Like every time he's right there, and going back to it, I was just like the people that he's compared to are Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, and I should have mentioned Jim Harbaugh as well because he's another one. But like those were like the top 5 college coaches.
Yeah, but that's because he inherited that, bro.
Yeah, no, and again, I agree. But like Lane's not in that tier to me. Like he never has been. I think that Lane's a good play caller, Lane.
What is Ryan Day? Like, describe Ryan Day for me.
Ryan Day to me is just more serious than Lane is, bro. Like, Lane,
But I'm saying, describe him as a coach. Like, what are give me
his characteristics.
Three good qualities about him, just as a coach. 3 good qualities. What are you thinking of? If you had to pass his resume on, hey, bro, these are the top 3 things about him.
X's and O's. I think he is really good at X's and O's. I think he is really good, particularly at quarterback recruiting.
Okay, X's and O's.
He has evolved the quarterback element for that team tremendously because no longer do they have the JT Barretts and the Cardale Jones.
Well, yeah,
they have NFL pro guys at quarterback ready to go. Now,
yeah.
Granted, what happens
between the time that was just the. I mean, I think if they didn't change that, they would have been losing. They would have been Michigan. Michigan, essentially. They would have essentially been Michigan.
Yeah, because it's like, and don't get it twisted. Those guys put up stats in that offense because it was an offense, but like as a quarterback guy, Ryan Day has transformed them to being viable NFL first round prospects.
I think they just it goes hand in hand with the quarterback recruiting. I mean, he recruits what works right now, and
So my third thing, technically, I guess, would be recruiting, but that's kind of like
that's true. I mean, quarterback development, recruiting, X's and O's. I mean, what is different about Lane Kiffin? Those are his top 3 things. And what's the difference between Lane Kiffin and Ryan Day? Ryan Day inherited a program that recruits itself every time.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Lane's not close to the recruiter that Ryan Day is. He's not relentless. He's not relentless about it at all. He is.
I get that, but I feel like
he's a transfer portal
to a fault. That is because he's so great with X's and O's. It don't matter. We've seen it. It don't matter who is out there.
No, Lane's just unserious about shit like that. That's why I'm like,
I get it, but
this gonna sound insulting, right? Lane to me reminds me of like the class clown that's smart as hell.
Nah, I agree. I agree.
Lane Kiffin is like a class clown who you think, oh, this dude gets C's and D's, and Lane is out there getting A's and B's on his tests.
He's doing his thing. I'm just naturally smart, bro.
He's smart as hell. But you're like, there's no way this goofy MF is not failing right now.
Yeah,
but he's not. But and I don't know. It's like there's also. It's weird to me because I'm like, he has been at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He has been, which I think I would venture to say has higher expectations than Ole Miss. He's been at USC, which definitely has higher expectations nationally, not necessarily at I would just say nationally probably has higher expectations than at Ole Miss.
But it had its own problems. But
yeah, you've had coach rehab and went to Alabama to be the offensive coordinator, where I feel like everybody was like, oh my God, Lane Kiffin can call plays. Bro, he's always been able to call plays. That's his thing.
Y'all just
yeah, everybody, exactly. But now it's to the point where it's just like, I do think that like him being at Alabama, like I said, he's just kind of unserious. Like to the point, sometimes Saban didn't even get along with him.
No, we seen it. We seen it live on the sideline. I mean, but to your point, I can't take Ryan Day serious because I feel like I just look at him and think you're scared. Like you are not trying to.
He just needs a big moment win, and I actually foresee that for him. Maybe you and I feel like for you, you're like.
I think my thing is you're saying it like it's the inevitable, which I get why because it's like, bro, it's Ohio State, it's this and that. But I look at it, it's getting worse. Like, 12-team playoff means more room for error. Not really, because you don't know what else is going to happen. You don't know who you're drawing. Bro, I pray to God we win the SEC championship. If we end up in the ACG, you in the playoff, but God dang, this is who I got to play. Like, bro, it's getting worse. And then you added these other teams in there. You got Michigan who, I mean, it's just, bro, it's getting worse. USC is...
Yeah, optically it sucks, and it's more so that not only have for Ryan Day, not only have they lost to Michigan 3 times in a row, their op just won a national championship, and they beat a team who you've not been able to beat since 2014. They beat Alabama. I don't know if Ohio State would have beaten Alabama last
They
year.
beat the SEC team. Forget
Yeah.
beat Alabama. They beat the SEC team. They haven't beat an SEC team in a big time game.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have taken place. So it looks, optically speaking, it looks different. But here's the point where I think you're like, you don't trust Ryan Day. The expectations for Ryan Day and Ohio State are always going to be up here. The expectations for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin are going to be down here. But the question mark is, everybody's always like, Lane Kiffin is such a great play caller. What happens if you actually raise the expectation levels?
We see what happens. It's Alabama because it's like
no, but he's the head coach.
No, I'm saying just in general. I think to our analogy of the class clown getting A's, whenever it's time to really rise to the occasion, and he has no choice, or he's going to be utterly embarrassed. No, I'm saying like you have no choice. Like you are that. I feel like that's what happened to Alabama. No, I'm saying, like you said, the standard's always been here. So it's like, all right, they lose. It's just like, yeah, it's bad. Like, dang, y'all lost. But it's like, okay, moving on.
He had
Alabama, it's not the case. That wasn't the case. And he showed up to
opportunities. He had an opportunity last year when they came to Georgia, and they could have upset us.
I don't think anybody genuinely thought that was going to happen.
I didn't think they was going to be.
I don't think anybody genuinely thought that was going to happen. Nobody thought it would get that bad.
Yeah,
but nobody thought they was going to beat us.
I thought we were going to beat them, and I personally thought we were going to put belt to ass, but I feel like we're going to put belt to ass anybody. But
no, I mean, we had our reasons, though. We know if you really start pounding them the way we take it to people on the run game, I mean, once you figure out, I won't say once you figure out Ole Miss, I think it's hard. I just know when Kirby figures people out, he figures them out, and it's over with. Yeah. Sometimes the teams we don't understand why we don't figure it out and put them in the coffin, that's what frustrates us. But teams like a Lane Kiffin, Mississippi State, people like that, they let that go through. But Ole Miss, it's like, shoot, once we get Ole Miss, I mean, we'll let them score a touchdown or two, and then after that, it's over with. Tennessee, we'll let them score a touchdown or two and then kill them. But then we go into not even this year's Mississippi State. I'm talking RIP to a great man, Mike Leach, Mississippi State. We're going to war with Mississippi State, dog. We can't figure this air raid offense out. Like, what is going on?
And the only reason I say that about Lane is like he had an opportunity to rectify this against LSU. You're in Death Valley. It's a night game. Everybody knows that is like drastic. That's like typically an auto L, unless you like Alabama, usually, because they're like the only team that can beat LSU at night in their stadium or whatever.
9 times out of 10,
he just had a chance to rectify that this year, and it did not happen. And now they're sitting at a point where they actually have to win out if they're going to make the playoff. I don't know if that's going to happen because, yes, granted, we got to play them. And I don't even think – I'm not even just referring to us. I don't think they got the easiest schedule left.
It's not that bad. I mean, they play –
It's not terrible. They have Oklahoma. Now, granted, Oklahoma has no offense. So
they also have a bye week this week. So
yeah, they have a bye week this week. But then they have Oklahoma at home. They got to go to Arkansas.
That's going to be tough.
Arkansas is a scrappy-ass team. Arkansas is 4-2.
That's going to be tough.
Arkansas is 4-2. And Arkansas might win this week. I can't remember who they played.
Arkansas plays – Alabama plays Tennessee. Arkansas plays Mizzou, I think.
Hold on. Nah, Arkansas –
they play LSU.
They play LSU
this week.
Yeah,
Arkansas plays out.
Yeah, Arkansas might win this week. And then you got to play Ole Miss the following week. That ain't.
You play Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, Louisiana Tech, and then they play Mizzou. I'm tripping. Of course they play Mizzou.
The fact of the matter is, I'm saying is like Arkansas is very scrappy. That is not a guaranteed win for Ole Miss, but they don't need to. What Ole Miss doesn't need to do, they need to try to win out, and they need to try to take it week by week and try to beat everybody left on the schedule. I think their hardest game left is us, and that won't be that won't be an easy game for us just because we've made everything look so hard this year. Oh my god.
I just
But
think we're about to turn it around this week, but yeah,
I believe so
we'll
too.
see.
But they have Florida, and then the Egg Bowl, and everybody know the Egg Bowl is crazy. Like that's probably one of
It's
the
gonna be good. I mean, we'll get there, but Mississippi State deserves a little more credit than I think it's both ways, honestly. But yeah, Ole Miss took that L. I mean, I guess it's pretty much Lane Kiffin. He's got to get it together. I think he's gonna leave and go to Florida. I think
the thing is he'll never get fired because Ole Miss is comfortable with him winning 9 games
because that's where the standard is,
max.
Especially when with teams like that and a coach like that. Your best bet. That's the team that wants a conference. They want divisions because all I can do is really just be Bama.
And I'm not saying that they don't have national championship aspirations in Oxford, Mississippi.
It's just be realistic.
Yeah, I just don't know if like you're not. And Mississippi has good high school and high school football players. Like they're
absolutely
there's a decent talent bed down there. I would not say it's a hotbed like a Louisiana or like a Georgia or like a Florida or a Texas, but it's decent. It's solid per capita. I think it's actually pretty high.
Yeah,
statewide for the NFL prospect players or whatever. But in terms of like the expectations, I just don't. I think that they may think that they're higher than they really are. Like you're not a national championship contender. You're just not.
I don't even know if that's true. I think
Lane's just a good X's and O's coach, and he raises the ceiling of what Ole Miss normally has been.
Yeah, and it's exciting to watch. At least it's a good football team to come and watch. So I mean, I get it. We'll see though. We'll see. I got them going to Florida. I'm not trying to see that every year, but I don't really view him as that much of a threat to Kirby. No more than Dan Mullen, honestly. But I mean, at least Lane recruits. He definitely recruits better than Dan Mullen, but
he don't recruit well either. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, Lane doesn't recruit that well, but he recruits better than Dan. But we'll see. We'll see with that. We'll see. I think he might go to Florida, but they also still have to. I don't know what they're gonna do.
He was for that Bama job, which was gonna be funny. That would have been funny.
Yeah,
that would have been funny only because the fans' expectation is through the fucking roof. They're getting on Kalen DeBoer for wearing dry fit t-shirts.
Yes, and the players not having the shirts tucked in is hilarious.
Has a standard like no other, bro.
And it's only because of Nick Saban. Like y'all really were losers for a long time before Nick Saban, and it's like it's like y'all literally had the Men in Black light flashed in front of y'all faces and forgot everything pre Nick Saban. Y'all suck. Y'all were losers when I was a kid.
Yeah, the early 2000s and late 90s.
They were terrible.
The early 90s they were good though, and then
obviously
for that with
barely,
and then they were excellent.
Barely, but it's like Alabama looked sorry, and they were sorry. Like let's be for real, them jerseys trash. The numbers on the helmets that is trash. They look trash. I look like remember the Titans like. Pre-Nick Saban, they were trash. Like, nobody was checking for them at all. Y'all look trash, and y'all were trash for real. Nobody was checking for them, bro. Nobody, bro. Like, you not trying to go there, and your mascot was an elephant. Like, come on, dog. Nobody was checking for Alabama pre-Nick Saban. That's the only thing that frustrates me about Alabama fans. Like, either y'all were not fans at that time, or y'all act like y'all were, like, have always had this standard.
The only fans I know personally, like the Bama fans that I know, they're actually from Alabama and they've been like entrenched into that, so they understand. So like they've accepted. They've gotten a little on their high horse with the Saban thing
because it lasted so long. I mean, it's almost
like, and as you would too. Like that shit lasted almost a decade. I mean, almost 2 decades. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was about to say it did last a decade
from 07 to 2024. Like.
It's almost 2 decades.
Yeah, like you talk shit too.
Absolutely, and you won that much, but I think we're entering that. We about to be in that. I'm speaking into existence.
I hope. I don't know.
It's happening. But moving on, leading that up to honestly, we'll just go ahead and talk about the biggest game this week. Honestly, of course, quick recap: Texas held Oklahoma. Not much to talk there. 34-3. Not that much to talk about. Not really that surprising. I think rivalry games are great. Rivalry can shake up the landscape of the game. Not when you can't score points. You're not going to all of a sudden know how to score points just because it's a rivalry game. Yeah. You may find out how to execute a little better, but if y'all ain't never executed, you're not finna just start executing. You may do things better in the rivalry game. You're not finna start doing things you've never done before. It's not happening. They never could score points. Y'all not finna start today. 34-3. It wasn't surprising.
I just feel like the Red River rivalry, typically, from what I've seen, like the team that you expect to win doesn't always win. Sometimes, I think this year though, it was there. I just didn't see a path for Oklahoma to win this game. Now, if you had, when I thought about it before the season started, I'm not saying that I thought Texas wasn't gonna win. I just was more like this time period of playing Oklahoma and then playing Georgia back to back. I felt like that would have.
You thought it would be more challenging.
Yeah, but now that I've seen like
what Oklahoma looks like.
Yeah, you have your top 5 receivers are all injured, so they didn't play this week and they haven't played most of the season actually. Some of which have been out for the year, will be out for the entire year. Some of them have been out basically like they up to this point have been out. You've switched your quarterback situation, and it's weird. It's like you blaming, like Jackson Arnold hasn't played great, but it's like he's also missing his top 5 receivers. Like,
what does he have to work with?
Yeah, and he has no O-line. And the unfortunate part is, I'm not saying that like benching him wasn't the right call necessarily,
but it's what did you gain from it?
But yeah, it's like at that point, it's like what you gain from it. Was Michael Hawkins actually better? Because I haven't seen anything really like. Yeah, he won the Auburn game and whatnot. He may have looked a little.
Auburn lost that game.
Yeah, I was gonna say Auburn lost the game more than Oklahoma won it. To be quite honest,
so it's just like
he looked a little effective. I think in the Tennessee game. I think if he played in the game, I can't remember.
I have to look that up.
In the Tennessee game, I think. So. He looked a little effective, I believe, in that game. And now you've effectively alienated him. He's gonna transfer because he's not gonna burn.
Y'all basically just did the same thing y'all did with Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, he's not burning that red shirt. Like, so now this is actually, if I was to talk about like Oklahoma for a quick sec, like this is a bad look for.
Yeah, he played. He went 11 of 18 for 132. He played. I vaguely remember that game. I didn't really watch it for real. I think I might just call highlights. Huh?
Tennessee? You talking about the Tennessee game?
Yeah, he got a touchdown, but I mean, is that enough for you to
like? Yes, Jackson Arnold has not been good. Full stop. He is not. However, you have no offensive line. Like the entire offensive line basically like went to like the league essentially, or left school. Yep. Your top 5 receivers are injured in some capacity, whether full like for the season or for like at the current moment. Yeah. So, and you really don't have a run game either.
Ain't no really.
So like,
you don't.
So it's like, what are they actually working?
You don't have an offense. You have a talented quarterback, but that doesn't work. You don't have anything around him.
Talented quarterback with nothing around him, and you have a defense, and that's going to be hard to win games, especially in the SEC. That shit may have worked in the Big 12, honestly, but this is.
I don't know. I don't even know if that would have worked. I don't know if it like the offense is that bad.
Yeah, this year maybe not necessarily, but like I could foresee them having gotten like 8 wins in the Big 12, maybe even 9 wins in the Big 12.
They look pretty bad. I don't know, dog. They look pretty bad.
I think they could have squeezed it out personally, but because they were already doing that. Well,
yeah, but we've never seen Oklahoma nor Texas offense look this bad. Like they aren't even one dimensional. They're no dimensional.
Yeah,
Oklahoma is no dimensional. Like we've never seen either of them look this bad. That's why I'm like, okay, it's a robbery, but like I said earlier, in a robbery game, you will do some things you've already done better. You're not gonna start doing new stuff we've never seen you do, dog.
Yeah.
We have not seen y'all execute on offense all year. You're not gonna start doing that today just because Texas is coming to town. Go on about that. So, but
I think any Oklahoma fan or media personnel that thought they had a chance, they deep down they probably knew, but they were being homers about it and just were like the spirit of Oklahoma.
Spirit of the rivalry, like it's still great. It's still a good game.
Magic was going to take over, and they were going to win. And no, that's
not if you literally are just not good at it. There's a problem at every level for them, every position group.
And you know what's crazy? There have been a lot of like people that cover the SEC that have talked about Oklahoma coming into the the SEC, and they were like, they probably made a mistake leaving the Big 12 because they could every year could come into the Big 12 saying we're gonna be one of the top two, at worst top three teams coming in. You knew that you were gonna recruit better than most teams. You have such a storied program.
Yep.
You're not that far away from Dallas.
Yep.
I think you're equal distance from Dallas that Texas is from Dallas as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one of your hotbeds. But now you move into the SEC. Technically, your footprint should be better or could be better in terms of your recruiting. Like you're playing in bigger matchups. You're playing at night. You're not playing those 12 noon.
Big noon, technically 11 a.m. games. For them.
Yeah, you're not playing those typically anymore. Like, so it should be better. But their expectation, I think, was that they were going to be on the Georgia, Alabama. I guess you could say Texas, but Texas hasn't technically done anything.
From a footprint and logo standpoint, yeah, but not. Yeah. I mean, y'all are still coming in a down year. Texas is coming in at the perfect time.
Yeah, I'll even put LSU up there in that upper tier of basically just being an upper tier level team.
Yeah, upper tier program, notoriety.
Yeah. Oklahoma right now is probably more on that Auburn, current state Florida. I didn't want to say Ole Miss necessarily because Ole Miss, I think.
You could really just leave it right there. I mean,
the issue is that I think Brent Venables is a good coach. Actually, I think
they're not good. The roster's not good.
The rest, yeah, you got to figure out the rest of the roster, and you completely mismanaged your quarterback situation now.
Now about to be twice.
Yeah, you threw Dylan Gabriel away instead of sitting him down like last year. Basically, how Texas and Sark did, and this might come down to the fact that like one's an offensive coach and one's a defensive coach. Honestly,
essentially,
how Texas sat down Arch and basically effectively told him, "You're not playing for 2 years. You're not playing. You weren't playing last year. You're gonna sit as a freshman. You're gonna be a hyped freshman, but you're not even gonna be second string." Malik Murphy was second string until he wasn't, I think, and then entered the transfer portal. And then this year, you knew for a fact when Quinn said, "I'm coming back to try to be QB1." I'm saying when he effectively came back and said, "I'm trying to be QB1, and I want to try to win a national championship for Texas and all this blah 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 blah." You were like, "All right, cool. I'm not gonna start." However, Sark also knew you needed real reps because that dude gets injured, and he's been injured every year that I've had him on campus. Essentially, like every year he's gotten hurt.
Yeah.
So you knew that you were going to have to get him real reps. And so far it's proven effective. I would actually venture to say they got the best quarterback situation in the country because if Quinn has to get out for an extended period of time, you have arguably the best backup in the country that can play real reps. He does.
I guess so.
Who?
Ooh, never mind. I'll say that in a second. But yeah. No, it was just quarterback related. It was just quarterback.
Okay. I mean, I can't think of a better.
I'll just say because he got reps, yes.
Yeah.
Because he got reps, yes.
And he's had reps against real SEC competition as well.
Yeah. Because he got the reps, absolutely.
Yeah. So now Texas is just in a considerably different situation. And to your point, like Sark, I can't remember if Sark and Brent came in at the same
They
time,
did.
like the same year. Well, Sark and
Came in better. One came in with a better roster than the other.
yeah,
Brent
well,
came
yeah,
to
Brent
me. Brent came in
Brent
with a
came
better
over a better
roster.
roster.
Brent came in with a better roster. They swapped positions. Like
Yeah,
this is
he
the
did.
worst time for Oklahoma to come in here. Texas,
And this is
I don't pay attention as to how good of a recruiter Stark is outside of the Texas name, but
tough. He's pretty tough.
but regardless of how tough he is, they're coming in at the perfect time where it's just like, ooh, they're
Yeah,
developing. It's
development.
sometimes people don't do their research. Some them wide receivers ain't come from they didn't develop them. But
Yeah,
hey, this is what's going on here. This is what we got going on here. Oklahoma look like, bro. What are
he
y'all
only
doing?
he only actually has two wide receivers that he's recruited straight out of high school right now that are like effective, like really good, and it's Jonte Cook and Ryan Wingo.
Yeah,
Ryan's a freshman. I think Jonte Cook is a sophomore.
yeah. We got to see what they're and I don't see how his wide receiver talent isn't any different than what it was at Alabama.
It's
Or I'm saying will be, not right now.
yeah.
Just
I was
saying
gonna say
the potential what he can get.
he's getting better. I would think that like his talent is weird. Last year, I would actually say his wide receiver talent was better because
Of
he
course.
had AD Mitchell, he had Worthy, he had and Jatavian Sanders, who was in a tight,
No.
he's a tight end, but he's not a wide receiver. And he
He
had
was a tough.
Jordan Whittington, who was just Mr. Consistent. They did not come off the field though. That was the difference. I
They
think
didn't have
now,
depth.
yeah, now there's more depth, so he rotates these dudes a lot. So like I've kind of paid attention to Texas a little bit. Any given day, they kind of like any different dude can kind of go off. The main dude technically is Isaiah Bond, and he's essentially in a walking boot, so he's probably not gonna play us.
Hmm.
Um,
I didn't know he was still in that.
yeah,
Oh, well, we'll see. But speaking of that, playing us, big game coming up this week. You got Texas going up against Georgia at the crib. So Texas is definitely going to be rocking. It's definitely going to be a night game. And I mean, I think they said, what does ESPN have it at? 80% chance that they win, although the point
yeah,
spread is only at 3.5. So I don't know. I'm probably just gonna stay away from it. You know me. I love Georgia so much. I'll take money on Texas just so I can just so I can be sad about Georgia and at least have a little money in my pocket. But I wouldn't even do that. I don't play like that. But I mean, big game coming up. How are we feeling about that? Just real quick, we'll just say, what does Georgia need to do to win, and what does Texas need to do to win?
Georgia, I think, has to affect Quinn from a defensive line or front seven perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I think their secondary needs to cook, like actually needs to step up. I don't know if that's a switch in who's playing or just all around raise the talent level. I think also Georgia in general, we have not played a complete game. I think I mentioned this earlier to Evan. Um, Kirby had even mentioned this, I think this week, where he was just like, every game that we played, it's like one aspect of the team shows up that week, and it just so happens that they win. Now, granted, we lost against Alabama, so of course he was like, one time the run game might show up, but nobody getting open. One time folks are getting open, but we can't pass block.
Yeah,
Sometimes Carson Beck may be super accurate, but everybody might be dropping the ball this time. Like it's just like nothing has come together. He's like, sometimes the pass rush may work, but we can't cover nobody. Sometimes we're covering people,
last
but we
week.
ain't getting no pressure. Like it's all nothing has come together at all. And he was like, I just want them to play their best game against Texas. And as I told Evan, I was like, I think Texas fans and media may take that as like, oh my God, we're number one.
It's our Super Bowl.
Gotta
It's no.
yeah. And it's just like, no, bro. Like you are the number one. You're the number one team in the country. Two, it's a big game. And three, it's just we as our team have not played good. Period.
It's
But
definitely us versus us.
Yeah, but in terms of like what I think Texas would need to do, I'm Texas. I try to exploit the secondary. Um, and it was funny. Like I listened to some Texas media guys talk. They were like, they paid attention to like what Georgia did against Mississippi State versus like what they did. Now, granted, Quinn wasn't playing obviously in the Mississippi State game. Arch was, but they were like Mississippi State ran the ball very well against Texas and kind of tried to play ball control to limit their possessions. They couldn't run the ball for shit on us, but they threw it after a while. And the I think the frustrating thing about the Georgia Mississippi State game is that Georgia Mississippi State game was out of hand at one point. Like,
I mean, the stadium was half empty by the time they came back.
yeah, I mean, we was up. Let me see. Hold on. I feel like we were up by like almost 30 at one point, but I could be wrong.
No, not that much, not that much.
It wasn't that much. It wasn't. It was a decent amount in terms of like how we were scoring. I'm pretty certain.
Our biggest lead at one point was it was just 24, 34 to 10.
Yes. So, and I think under
It should have kept going. And
like they didn't put you gotta put the pedal on the gas, bro.
And it wasn't the offense. I mean,
defense. Yeah, the defense was BSing for real, and you can't do that. I don't think you can do that against Texas. I think Texas is gonna come in hype for this game. But this is what I mentioned at the beginning of the year before the season started. I was like, this to me is Texas's welcome to the SEC moment. And I was like, it's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to beat Oklahoma in a very emotional win, and then next week you're going to have to play Georgia. And it's like, can you keep the same energy, or will you be too energetic or too up here? And like the concept of like, you got game day. It's probably gonna be a party. It's essentially what happened like when we played Alabama, which I ironically, in a weird way, I think it helps us because we've been in that situation where it's just like,
I know where this night game is.
Everybody was against us. It was a Nick Saban honoring at Georgia. Like, it was basically an Alabama like party fest for them. They hopped out to a big ass lead. We came back. We almost spoiled the party. But now you know that this same situation is going to happen, I think, for Texas, in that they're going to be hyped. They're going to try to make it a party. Like, they're going to try to, the crowd's going to be loud. You, as Georgia, effectively have to take the crowd out very early if you want to win that game. I think you really have to take the crowd out. The only thing though is like, if I was to compare Texas and Alabama, Quinn can throw the ball very well. I just don't. He's not nearly as athletic as Jalen Milroe. He's not a statue.
We got home on Jalen Milroe. It wasn't like Jalen Milroe had all day. We got back there, but he's so hard to tackle. Or when you cover, he can go. It's like we'll have him in freaking 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 7s. Quinn is getting caught by then. Yeah. But it's like with Jalen Milroe, bro, he's picking up that first down with such ease.
Facts.
It's harder. It's much harder. It's much harder.
Facts. So for me, I'm like, make sure you're tackling well. They don't have a lot of backs. I did just see Trey Wisner go crazy against.
Yeah. But he's the main guy. I mean,
he's the main guy now.
You've been it since the beginning of the year, so you are the guy now.
Jaden Blue got fumbling issues as well, so
we'll see. I mean, I think Texas.
People are gonna pick Texas, and I completely understand it.
I get it.
Their defense is good. Their offense is good. I would like to see us bring pressure on Quinn. I think when you bring pressure on him, you can shake him a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's more prone to make some bad decisions.
And the craziest thing is he's a big game quarterback, and it's funny, like again, listening to Texas media, like I was telling you, being homers a little bit, but like at the same time, it's like I ain't saying they calling Georgia soft or nothing like that, but they were just like, this isn't the Georgia that we're used to or whatever. Like, and they're like, is Georgia actually good? To your point, we have not played well. We really have not played well, which is
I
like,
feel it.
and Kirby, like at this point, it's not a depth issue, which I don't think it is either. It's a lack of
Hard.
execution issue. Execute. If you execute, can't nobody beat us. And I felt, and I really do feel that way in a way, because like at this rate, I'm looking back, I'm like, you shouldn't have lost to Alabama, for real.
No, we shouldn't have. I think.
Just
I mean,
being in a hole that bad sucks. Like we was down like what 37 or something like that.
nah. It was. Oh
It
yeah,
was
it
20,
was. Yeah, I guess it was
or
pretty
like
much that.
30 or like 30. I think it was like 30-7. You was down 30-7 by like halftime very quickly. Granted, you came all the way back or whatever, but you can't dig yourself in a hole that way. And I think the team that wins this game, their quarterback commits less turnovers. So for that is going to require Carson Beck to really take care of the football. He's been a little loose with the football lately.
Yeah, yeah. It was
I think because he knows like his deep ball has gotten a lot better this year. It's actually more of a strength than it
Yeah.
was last year. And he's been pretty accurate, but I think he also feels like I can make these tight window throws. My only challenge to him is like you don't have Lab McConkey and you don't have Brock Bowers. Those tight window throws that you were used to making last year, where you knew if I throw it in this window, Brock gonna go get it, or Lad can go get it. That's not necessarily the case this year. The only person I feel like I can make those catches for is Dylan.
Nah. I think.
Dylan and Dom and maybe Lawson.
Yeah, Dom definitely can. You said who else?
And maybe Lawson.
I'll give it an Ant too, and I think we'll see a lot more of Ant coming up this week. We'll see a lot more of them. I think it all just comes down to like some of these guys can't get open, and it's like I know at this break, I think we make it too much about Ladd and Brock sometimes. Everybody from last year who we've had the last 3 years at the break, I'm gonna be open. They're gonna be open. Like they're gonna run around. They're gonna separate. They're gonna get the separation.
Marcus Rosemy-Jackson could get open, and he was.
He's gonna be
automatic. He was an automatic. Like you throw the ball in his vicinity, he's coming down with it.
Exactly. So it's like that, and then we're losing guys like Kobe Young, who is about to become that automatic, where it's just like, hey, you 1-on-1 him if you want to. Like
back shoulder is automatic for him, but
now we don't have him, so probably I don't even want to speak on that, but we don't know. I
will say establish the run game.
Yep.
As well, if you establish the run game, like I said, you probably limit possessions. Try to score touchdowns.
We need to score. We need to score touchdowns more often than not, but I think it's just about we need to score in every possession, pretty much, like because I don't even want to say need, but I think it's the fact that we had 41 this past week, 31 against Auburn, 34 against Alabama. I think we are easily getting to a point of, I'll say we easily against Texas this week or anybody, I think we easily put up 30, 35, 30 to 33 range. I'll say that. Easily we're putting up 30 to 33 on you. Easily, and when I say easy, it's like I'm incorporating sometimes questionable Mike Bobo calls, us not executing. All of that included, we're always going to be in that 30-33 range. So my thing is, if we execute, we send that 45. We send that where we've been the last 2 years, 40 points per game.
I'm not overly confident we win this game, actually. But I will say, I think that, like, Sark to me I don't feel like he's going to pull anything, any new tricks out the bag, because he's technically beaten Kirby. He's beaten Kirby before when he was the OC at Bama in 2020. And when they whooped us. But we was up 24-20 at halftime. But that game, we actually should have won that game too.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna sound weird. I don't really think there's anything new that he can throw out that we
I
haven't
don't think
seen.
they're healthy
He
enough for
throws
that.
hard to defend. Like he knows the Nick Saban Kirby system, so he knows how to exploit it. I think, but I also just don't think there's anything new that he's gonna be able to give us. At the same time, I have seen a little bit of creativity from
Our defense.
from Bobo, but I'm gonna just need him to call the best game of his life, and I'm gonna
I've,
need.
s- I always thought you were going to say you've seen a little more creativity from our defense. I think our defense has been. I think they've mixed it up enough. I just think I don't know what the hell happened last week, but I'm not surprised because we've been on the precipice of looking like that in the secondary for a little minute.
Secondary play's been awful. For real.
So, but not to go too deep because we can cover this on Thursday. But Texas wins if they just continue doing what they've been doing, or if we allow them to do what they've been doing, just being smart, not overdoing it, still being. I think I love.
Texas is super confident. I think.
And I love how they've remained balanced regardless of the running back injuries. The running back depth is not there, but they've remained like they've stayed true to being balanced.
Yep,
they've been true to being balanced. And if they do that and it works, it's going to be a tough night for Georgia if we are not stopping one or the other. Passing, it's harder to stop Quinn Ewers than it is to shut down the running game, but it's definitely easier to stop Quinn Ewers once you shut down the running game.
Thanks. The only thing I will say, this is my last point.
Yeah.
Texas has only played one-dimensional teams,
Mm-hmm.
teams that either have a defense and no real offense, especially no passing threat. This will be the first game, in my opinion, that they played a team that has a defense that is very talented. Even if they're not good necessarily.
Yeah.
But they have talent. They can get after you because of the talent. I think K.Wil will be a little healthier than he was. I think he only played like 11 snaps last week and he only played like 8 snaps the week before. Like he's actually available to play this game, and we have a quarterback that can actually throw the ball.
We have a balanced offense.
Yeah,
I think to take it a step further, last point before we get out of here. Yeah, they have seen one-dimensional teams. They've seen one-dimensional offenses too. They haven't seen balanced offenses. So I think it'll be different. I personally look forward to K.Wil coming back. I look forward to seeing the real K.Wil too, because he's been missing. But also, I think it's just going to be a TID party, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a TID. I think it's going to be a big TID party. I'm calling that now. TID, turn that up. But we'll see. And we'll catch y'all on Thursday. More previews for the games of the week. And we'll get to it, had a full cast. And this is K.Wil, GP, and we out, man.